Chapter 822. Big Brother, one of the figures seemed indignant. Before he left, he glanced at Pei Yucheng. Don't be fooled by this woman. She is very strong. Her hands are like hammers. Look at how we beat her. She isn't weak at all. Lin Yan's eyes widened in fury as she glared at the person who had spoken. Lin Yan glanced at Pei Yucheng and sounded aggrieved. It's not like that. That man's teeth bumped into my hand. His front teeth fell off and another man's nose broke. His nose bumped into my knee. Pei Yucheng was speechless. Does your knee hurt? Pei Yucheng gazed at Lin Yan and asked gently. Yes. Lin Yan nodded repeatedly. Does it still hurt? Pei Yucheng gently massaged Lin Yan's knee. It doesn't hurt anymore, replied Lin Yan. The man in black, whose nose had been broken, was on the verge of breaking down. The corners of his mouth twitched as though he had 1,000 words to say. In the end, he said, Big brother, big sister, goodbye. After the men in black helped each other out of the manor, Lin Yan stared at Pei Yucheng. Mr. Pei, did you know that someone was looking for trouble with me? Lin Yan felt that Pei Yucheng was acting strangely today. First, he had dismissed the people in the manor. Now, he wanted to stay in her room. Something didn't seem right. Sleep early. They won't be coming anytime soon. Pei Yucheng didn't answer Lin Yan's question. He merely touched the tip of her nose gently. As Pei Yucheng walked to the study, Lin Yan instinctively asked, Mr. Pei, aren't you going to my room? However, Lin Yan felt that something was amiss the moment she said that. No, she didn't say those words. She must have been possessed by that pervert just now. That pervert was the one who said those words. Pei Yucheng didn't turn his head as the corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. Sleep early. Of course, if you insist. Lin Yan hurriedly said, Mr. Pei, you should rest early too. After returning to her room, Lin Yan fell into deep thought as she lay on the bed. What the hell was the Hunters Guild doing? Why would they cause trouble for her? Soon, Lin Yan recalled something. Not long ago, she had met a similar group of people at the beach near the He family's old house. They seemed to be from some guild. Lin Yan recalled how she had taught those people a lesson. So, could it be that the guild held a grudge and had been preparing for a long time to purposely take revenge on her? This possibility was not very high, but it did not mean that it was impossible. It was a pity that it was already late at night. Otherwise, he could look for Ling Yu and ask her about the situation. With Ling Yu's ability, it shouldn't be difficult for her to investigate. He could only ask Ling Yu about the situation tomorrow. Lin Yan realized that ever since she had returned to the country, there had been more and more mystery surrounding her. Many people mistook her for someone else. First, it was Ling Yu. Then, it was the man who treated the parrot as a pet and said that he owed him $10 billion. Finally, it was the so-called Hunters Guild. Not only that, but there was also an existence that could possess her body and control it. Ring after ring, buckle after buckle, but she didn't even know what happened to the laboratory or the whereabouts of her younger brother. Lin Yan had wanted to wake up early the next day to watch the race. However, she realized that Pei Yucheng's book hadn't been taken away. Lin Yan's curiosity was piqued as she picked up the heavy, ancient book. Chapter 823. When Lin Yan flipped open the first page of the book, she was slightly shocked. This book was filled with handwriting, and the contents were all manually recorded. Besides, Lin Yan realized that these handwriting didn't come from the same person. The entire book was made up of at least a dozen different handwriting. This thing. Could it be a family heirloom? Lin Yan stared at the book on her phone, deep in thought. A book had been through at least a dozen people's hands. The handwriting at the beginning seemed to have become a little blurry due to time. On the contrary, the handwriting was clearer. Of course, Lin Yan wasn't very interested in the origin of this book. She was just curious about the contents. Lin Yan didn't sleep for the entire night. She had only read about 1/10 of the book. The evolution recorded in the book wasn't as difficult to accept as Lin Yan had imagined. However, it seemed a little difficult, and she couldn't understand much of the relevant information. Lin Yan had gradually accepted the fact that humans could evolve. Evolution wasn't limited to theory. In this world, there might already be many human evolvers. Besides, the book also mentioned the Hunters Guild. The Hunters Guild had been established for a long time, and its main purpose was to capture humans who had evolved through extraordinary means. Human evolution, as Pei Yuqing had said, was divided into two types. The first type was pure evolved humans. They were born evolved humans and didn't need external help to become evolved humans. The other type was evolved humans who had evolved through extraordinary means, such as modifying the brain or genes. There were also ranks among evolved humans. Born evolved humans were the most respected, while humans who had evolved through extraordinary means were the lowest. The purpose of the Hunters Guild was to capture those low-class evolved humans. According to the book, about 23 years ago, there was an extremely famous magician in a certain country who created an amazing magic trick. Without any auxiliary tools, in front of tens of thousands of people, he was able to fly nearly a kilometer in the air without falling for an hour. Not long after, the magician had been captured by the Hunters Guild. This was just one of thousands of cases. The so-called title of the magician was just a cover. In essence, he was a genuine evolved human. The reason he could hover in the air without falling wasn't because he had used any magic tricks. It was because of some kind of ability that had been bestowed upon him after evolution. As for what kind of ability it was, the book didn't record it in detail. Lin Yan guessed that it might have evolved in terms of matter or gravity. Early in the morning, Lin Yan rubbed her eyes and set the book aside. The book briefly introduced many evolvers, and some of them were even big shots that were known to every household. Among them were some great magicians from the last century. She had only read 1/10 of the content, but it was already an eye-opener for her. She was amazed by the wisdom of the ancients. The concept of evolvers did not start in modern times. Its origins could even be traced back to ancient times. Now, Lin Yan was doubting herself. If human evolution existed, then what was she? An evolver, or just an ordinary person? Lin Yan couldn't forget the darkness in that laboratory. From the moment she and her brother were brought into the laboratory, her heart was filled with endless fear and darkness. In fact, she often woke up from her dreams because she remembered some details of the laboratory. Chapter 824. Lin Yan still remembered that she had fainted in the laboratory. When she woke up, she had been fixed to a cold metal bed. There were all sorts of instruments around her that she didn't recognize. The colors on the instruments kept changing, and they kept beeping. Lin Yan had always been puzzled about the purpose of the laboratory and what it was researching. However, now, Lin Yan gradually had some ideas. Was it possible that it was used to turn ordinary people into postnatal evolved beings, just like what was recorded in the books? After she escaped from the laboratory, Lin Yan's body had indeed undergone unprecedented changes. First of all, she had a strong learning ability. She could even remember everything she saw with a glance. Not only that, but she had also become extremely strong. Lin Yan guessed that she might be a low-level evolved human who had been assisted in the books. If that was the case, it would explain why the Hunters Guild had repeatedly come to find trouble with her. According to the books, the Hunters Guild was very powerful and had many congenital evolved beings. However, Lin Yan had met the Hunters Guild 3 times. The people sent by the Hunters Guild didn't seem as powerful as the books had described. Was it because the Hunters Guild had declined a long time ago, Or was it because her evolution level was too low that the Hunters Guild didn't take her seriously at all? That was why they had sent the most ordinary people to capture her. Lin Yen had no idea. Lin Yen lay on the bed and closed her eyes in deep thought. After a long time, Lin Yen suddenly opened her eyes. Something that had been bothering her for a long time surfaced in her mind. Could it be that the female pervert who possessed her was also a evolved human? All this while, Lin Yen had thought that she had a mental problem or had encountered a ghost. If a human evolved being had the ability to possess others, that would be too heaven-defying. This ability could completely control the life and death of others. If the possessor had the intention to possess the body of an enemy and take a knife to his own neck like cutting a piece of pork, the possessor would cut off his own neck. Lin Yan's scalp tingled at the thought of this. This was almost an invincible, perverted ability. However, after some thought, Lin Yan felt that something was amiss. She had never offended such a terrifying woman. Logically speaking, she shouldn't have possessed her. After some thought, Lin Yan was enlightened. If a female evolved being had possessed him, she would have been drooling over Pei Yucheng's looks. She would have been the female's tool. He hadn't possessed her because he had a grudge against her, but because he wanted to use her to get close to Pei Yucheng. Lin Yan frowned. She had slept with someone else's girlfriend in hopes of becoming her boyfriend. What a shameless pervert. The next time that lecher possessed her, she would have to have a good talk with her. The pervert's idea was too stupid. If she wanted to get close to Pei Yucheng, why did she have to possess her body? She could do whatever she wanted and get close to Pei Yucheng. She could even get intimate with him. Suddenly, Lin Yan's mind was filled with images of tigers and wolves. Lin Yan shuddered. She hadn't used her cleverness in the right place. No. She couldn't let that lecher find out about this. Otherwise, Pei Yucheng's reputation would be ruined. Lin Yan could even imagine how the lecher would look at Pei Yucheng if she were to be seen by Pei Yutong or Pei Nanxiu. End of this chapter. Chapter 825. However, to be honest, the ability to possess someone at will was really an evolved ability that made people envious. Lin Yan suddenly envied this ability. If she had such an ability, she would be able to possess someone else's body and put the money in their pockets into her own wallet. She wouldn't be able to reject it even if she wanted to. Or perhaps she could possess the boss and increase her salary by 10 times. No, 100 times. Most importantly, she would have to sign the contract. Lin Yan blushed at the thought of this. This wasn't what she was thinking. She couldn't be so shameless and immoral. Money was something that she wouldn't bring with her in life or death. It was like a fleeting cloud to her. This was who she was. She wasn't interested in money. After all, life was about living for herself and the people she loved, not for money, right? Just as Lin Yan was lost in her thoughts, her phone rang. It was He Lifeng. Lin Yan replied, "Speak." He Lifeng replied, "Sister, you're too cold to me. I'm sad. Can you not say one word at a time? You can even say 2 words." Lin Yan replied, "Speak." He Lifeng was speechless. Although he didn't know why, he wanted to kill himself. "Sister, we've found a venue. There are a few of them. Let's gather and see the venue," He Lifeng said. Lin Yan nodded in agreement. She had to admit that He Lifeng was indeed swift and decisive. This was completely different from his character. He had completed the task that he had given him yesterday. At the very least, there had been some highlights in his life. "What's the lowest price?" Lin Yan asked hastily. "Oh. Not much," He Lifeng replied. Lin Yan asked, 1 year? He Lifeng replied, 1 month. Lin Yan replied, "Gun. Sister, I'm not the boss. It's useless even if you tell me." Come out and gather. Let's talk. Money can't be brought along in life or death. Money isn't that important, He Lifeng said hurriedly. Lin Yen fell into deep thought. Then. Why don't you pay? He Lifeng was speechless. Sister, I've thought about it carefully. The price is indeed shameless. Let's talk. If there's nothing to talk about, we'll go to another place. He Lifeng wiped the cold sweat off his face. What kind of joke was this? He could eat *T, but he really couldn't pay. To He Lifeng, racing was his life, and he had joined it to earn money. She hung up and washed up. Then, she drove to the place where she had agreed to meet He Lifeng. He Lifeng and Mo Shuyun had been waiting for a long time outside a club. Sister, this venue isn't bad, right? He Lifeng grinned at Lin Yen. Lin Yen scrutinized him for a moment. It had been a racing club, so the venue had been decent. However, Lin Yen couldn't accept the price. Half a year's rent was equivalent to half of her life, and a year's rent was equivalent to her life. The contract was for 3 years. Sorry, but her life wasn't enough. The owner was a young man. They had spent more than an hour trying to persuade him, but he wouldn't give them a single cent. She had no choice but to give up on this venue and move on to the next one. Early in the morning, Lin Yen, He Lifeng, and Mo Shuyun searched for a venue. However, the price was too high, or the price was acceptable. End of chapter. Chapter 826. Lin Yen felt a little helpless. It was too difficult to be a boss. Was she going to die before she could even start her career? F***ck. He Lifeng bellowed. These people are really shameless. How can the market price be that high? All of them value money so much. I despise those misers the most. Lin Yan's unfriendly gaze landed on He Lifeng as soon as he finished speaking. He Lifeng replied, except for me and my sister. Lin Yan gave He Lifeng a thumbs up. Brother, you're really internationally famous, He Lifeng asked. International famous trademark? Lin Yan replied, double standard. He Lifeng was speechless. As the saying goes, money drives a hero to his death. It's a pity that all my money is with the He family team. Otherwise, I would have rented one of the floors of that building. Mo Shuyun lamented. Lin Yan's eyes lit up when she heard Mo Shuyun. That building? Captain, you must be joking. Even if I sold you, it wouldn't be enough. I remember a fool who set up a virtual reality game company and bought the entire building. In the end, there were no customers. Ha ha ha. He Lifeng chuckled. What are you laughing at? Mo Shuyun glanced at He Lifeng. He can buy an entire building. He Lifeng replied, he doesn't have any customers. Mo Shuyun replied, he can buy a building. He Lifeng was speechless. Mo Shuyun asked, so what are you laughing at? He Lifeng replied, Mo Shuyun replied, you fool. He Lifeng replied, I suddenly feel a little sad. Let's go. Lin Yen perked up instantly. Sister, where are we going? Asked He Lifeng. I'm taking you to find that fool. Lin Yen didn't even turn her head. Lin Yen, He Lifeng, and the others arrived in front of a building. Virtual Reality Game Company, F***ck. He Lifeng glanced at Lin Yen in shock. Sister, are you serious? You want to rent a floor of this building? Lin Yen nodded. Why can't I? He Lifeng quipped, Sister, it's not that I look down on you, but you can't afford to rent those venues. If you can, I'll crawl on the ground like a maggot. Mo Shuyun glanced at He Lifeng. I will bark like a dog to accompany you. Lin Yen had no time to waste on them. She sent her boss a text. Boss, are you there? A moment later, there was a reply. Boss, is it payday? Lin Yen was speechless. Lin Yen replied, "Boss, I'm not here for my salary. I have something to discuss with you." "Are you at the office?" "I'm here." "Boss, yes. Didn't he say he was going overseas for a business trip? Why is he back so soon?" Lin Yen led He Lifeng and Mo Shuyun to the building. Such a huge place, yet it's closed all the time. It's not even open for business. He Lifeng stood in front of the building and looked at the tightly shut door. He sighed. He couldn't understand the thoughts of rich people. "Let's go. The building isn't open. We need a password to enter," added He Lifeng. Lin Yen keyed in the password and opened the door. Lin Yen glanced at He Lifeng, who was in a daze. She stepped into the building and said, "Let's go." Mo Shuyun replied, "Fool, why aren't you coming in? Didn't you hear your sister's call? Your sister works in this building, so it's normal for her to know the password." End of this chapter. We can use the venue as part of the investment. I guarantee that you won't regret it. You'll get back 10 times the investment. Lin Yen grinned. He Lifeng and Mo Shuyun stared at Lin Yen in astonishment. Chapter 828. This. How could they be talking about renting an office space? This was a scam. How could Lin Yen not spend a single cent on such a luxurious venue? Did she really think that this man was an idiot? How could she afford such a building? Did she lack money? Did she look like an idiot? She even wanted to invest. Did she think that this man was an idiot? Sure, the man replied without hesitation. He Lifeng was speechless, Mo Shuyun was speechless. Wait a minute. Is this man really an idiot? Or am I dreaming? He Lifeng pulled Mo Shuyun aside and whispered, "Captain, slap me and see if I'm dreaming." Slap. Mo Shuyun slapped He Lifeng. "Are you dreaming?" asked Mo Shuyun curiously. He Lifeng covered his face and stared at Mo Shuyun in shock. "Captain, are you serious?" Mo Shuyun glanced at He Lifeng expressionlessly. "Anyone who knows me knows that I love to help others." He Lifeng replied, "It hurts a little." Mo Shuyun nodded. "That's great. Then it's not a dream." The corners of He Lifeng's mouth twitched. For some reason, he felt an urge to slap Mo Shuyun. However, as he studied Mo Shuyun's physique, He Lifeng pondered for a moment before he smiled at him. "Captain, be gentler next time." Lin Yen stared at the man in astonishment. Lin Yen hadn't expected that her boss would agree so readily. He hadn't hesitated at all. His answer disrupted Lin Yan's train of thought and disrupted her plan. She had already thought of countless ways to convince her boss, but now, she was completely useless. "However, I have a condition." The man glanced at Lin Yen. "A condition?" Lin Yen couldn't help but sneer coldly. Even 100 conditions wouldn't be a problem. "I'm very good at racing." "You know that," said the man. Yeah. I know. Boss, some professional racers can't compare to your racing skills." Lin Yen nodded repeatedly. As long as he gave her a free sponsorship, he would be willing to let Yeva lose to him on the track, much less praise his racing skills. "Yes." The man nodded slightly and continued, "My condition is to let me join your new racing team, and I want to be in the center position. I will be number 1 in every race." The smile on Lin Yan's face froze at the man's words. Mo Shuyun, Xiaofan. "Let's go." Lin Yan rose from her seat. If he were to be the number 1, would there still be a need for his racing team to exist? This man's driving skills could only be described as catastrophic. He could even crash into a stationary object. If he really agreed to his conditions, he might run over a few more racers, or, he might even run over the spectators and kill them. If that happened, he wouldn't be able to survive. No, absolutely not. Even if he tried to convince the heavens, it wouldn't do. Boss, aren't you making games? Games have a bright future. Mo Shuyun understood Lin Yan's intentions instantly. Given Lin Yan's personality, the fact that she had rejected him so decisively meant that the man's driving skills had to have impressed her. Hence, Lin Yan had turned around without hesitation. I prefer driving, the man said. What kind of car do you drive? Asked He Lifeng instinctively. The man glanced at He Lifeng silently. Chapter 829. Boss, why don't you invest more money and become one of the bosses of our team? You will be able to manage a large number of racers. That would be great. Mo Shuyun gazed at the man and tried to persuade him. Didn't I make myself clear enough? The man glanced at Mo Shuyun. Although the man did not move, Mo Shuyun broke out in a cold sweat when he looked at him. Mo Shuyun shut his mouth hastily, not daring to say another word. Boss, I'm sorry. I'm trying to think of another way. I don't want the venue anymore, Lin Yan said helplessly. Really? The man asked. Yes. Lin Yan replied firmly. She turned around and left with Mo Shuyun and He Lifeng, who were both dumbfounded and bewildered. There is a huge venue behind the building. It's about the size of 15 racing clubs. It belongs to me too. You can use it for training, the man said softly. Lin Yan, who was about to step out of the office, froze in shock. Lin Yan retracted her foot. Boss, welcome to the Aurora team. Lin Yan smiled brightly as she shook the man's hand. Yeah, the man replied. Boss, do you want to sponsor a dozen cars? Lin Yan grinned. No, the man replied expressionlessly. Lin Yan was speechless. How heartless. Then. Boss, can you show us the venue? Which floor of the building can we use? Mo Shuyun hurried forward. Mo Shuyun felt as though he was dreaming. This man was too easy to talk to. He was so rich and had such a terrifying aura. How could he be a fool? Could he be interested in his goddess? In the blink of an eye, Mo Shuyun found his thoughts laughable. This man had seen everything. He shouldn't be seduced by beauty. Why had this man agreed to Lin Yan's ridiculous request? Why had he even offered to give her a bigger training ground? Did he really think that the team would bring him huge benefits? I reckon that this fool really likes racing. He might even be obsessed with it. He Lifeng whispered to Mo Shuyun. Do I look like a fool? You seem to like calling me that. The man glanced at He Lifeng. He Lifeng was startled. What kind of hearing did this man have? He was 8 feet away from Mo Shuyun, and he was whispering to him. How could Mo Shuyun hear him? Even a cat's ears couldn't be that sensitive. No 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 no. He Lifeng hurriedly shook his head. Boss, I didn't say that you're a fool. I said, He Lifeng instinctively glanced at Lin Yan and Mo Shuyun. After some hesitation, he pointed at Mo Shuyun. Boss, I'm talking about him. He's a fool. Boss, I'm sorry. Please don't take it to heart. My brother's brain hasn't developed well, so this part. Lin Yan pointed awkwardly at her head. Let's go check out the venue. The man didn't say much and got up. Little thief, just you wait. Mo Shuyun sneered coldly. He Lifeng was speechless. The man led Lin Yan and the others to the entrance of the building. Mo Shuyun and He Lifeng were excited when they saw the huge venue. Chapter 830. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that they had the most luxurious venue in the country. Who would believe that a newly established team could have such an office and such a training ground? Other than my floor, you can use the rest of the building, replied the man. Thank you, boss. Lin Yen was grateful. She had been hit by this man for nothing. Boss, you really have good taste. Our team won't disappoint you. Mo Shuyun hurried forward to flatter him. Oh yeah. The man turned to Mo Shuyun and asked, are all of you professional racers? Yes. He Lufeng nodded. How about this? Let's compete here and see who is better, said the man. Lin Yen suddenly felt nervous. How could he outrun anyone with his racing skills? Even He Lufeng could outrun him. Why did he have to embarrass himself? However, this man had a flaw in his character. She couldn't say that he wasn't good at racing, nor could she outrun him. Otherwise, the consequences would be dire. Sure, we can test your skills, boss. Mo Shuyun grinned. Lin Yen was speechless. Don't court death. It's not convenient. We don't have a car yet. Let's wait for another chance, replied Lin Yen hastily. Yeah, we don't have a car yet, replied He Lufeng. It's okay, replied the man. I have one. The man glanced at a row in the distance. Choose one yourself. F***ck, He Lufeng followed the man's line of sight and saw a row of cars. What kind of cars were they? Any one of them would be able to buy half of a fleet of cars. Although He Lufeng was a professional racer, he had never raced a car of such a level. Even Mo Shuyun's eyes turned red. Every single one of these cars was his dream. Boss, your car is amazing. Mo Shuyun exclaimed excitedly. Lin Yen frowned. Is that all you've got? Lin Yen glanced at the man. Boss, do you want these cars to be the team's property? I'll let you. He Lufeng was speechless, Mo Shuyun was speechless. Was that all he had got? However, the man didn't seem interested in the team's boss, so he ignored Lin Yen. Take your pick. The man led them to a row of racing cars. Lin Yen swallowed hard as she stared at the car. She had never seen such a treasure when she was in the WZ team. Lin Yen looked regretful. Such a good car was actually owned by a man with such disastrous driving skills. It was the most appropriate way to describe it. This, boss, I'll drive this one. Big brother, I want this one. I love this one. Useless things. Lin Yen gnashed her teeth as she glared at Mo Shuyun and He Lufeng. I want this one. Lin Yen pointed at the car and grinned. Soon, the man stepped forward and opened the doors of the 3 cars. He Lufeng sat in the driver's seat and couldn't help but feel a sense of superiority. In this life, he had actually been able to drive the car of his dreams. At the very least, at this moment, he should not lose to the racers of the major professional teams. The race car belongs to whoever can outrun me, the man said. Lin Yen, who had initially been disinterested, peeked her head out of the window. Are you serious? My word is as good as gold, the man replied expressionlessly. Chapter 831. Lin Yen glanced at the cars and yelled at Mo Shuyun and He Lufeng, no one is allowed to show mercy. Although this boss's character was weird, he had to take risks. Can we start now? Mo Shuyun looked at the man in the car in front of him and said excitedly. I said we can start. The man was expressionless. Sure, you're the boss. You have the final say. Mo Shuyun nodded eagerly. Whoosh. Suddenly, the man's car sped away, leaving Lin Yen, Mo Shuyun, and the others behind in a daze. Had he said that they had started? No way. Go back on your word? Lin Yen was flabbergasted. How could such a big boss play dirty and shameless? He had clearly said that they could only start the car now, yet he had sped off first. Start. Lin Yan and the others were at a loss when the man's voice rang through the walkie-talkie in the car. F***CK. Who can outrun him? He's too shameless. He Lufeng started the car hastily and sped away. Lin Yan and Mo Shuyun followed closely behind him. Even if you're shameless, you can't outrun us. The corners of Lin Yan's mouth curled into a smile. Lin Yan had already experienced the man's driving skills. Even He Lufeng could beat him up 1,000 times. He Lufeng's car had already caught up with the man's car. That's all? He Lufeng was in disbelief when he saw that the man was about to overtake him. He had thought that the man was an expert, but he couldn't outrun him. How could he be considered an expert? Or had his driving skills reached perfection? Ha ha ha. Boss, I'm sorry. I admit that I'm too good. He Lufeng was all smiles as he sat in the driver's seat and stepped on the accelerator. He was indeed a fool. Wasn't this car a free gift? He Lufeng's car had just overtaken the man, but he could see that the man was chasing after him relentlessly. He seemed to have never let go of the accelerator as he drove toward his car. F***CK, He Lufeng glanced at the rearview mirror and broke out in a cold sweat. Was this a competition or a murder? Was the boss planning to run him over with the car? Even if he didn't die from the crash, the car would definitely be wrecked. Instinctively, He Lufeng steered the car to the right. Entering the path of self-help was equivalent to forfeiting. However, it was too late when He Lufeng came back to his senses. F***CK. He Lufeng's eyes reddened. What kind of method is this? Why does she look so much like my sister? He Lufeng gritted his teeth. He recalled that when Lin Yan had been his navigator for the first time, she had done the same thing. She had crashed into someone else's car. You and my sister are from the same sect, right? You're so shameless. He Lufeng got out of the car angrily, feeling indignant. It would have been fine if he had lost due to his inferior skills. However, his racing skills were clearly miles ahead of that man's, yet he still lost. He couldn't accept it at all. You idiot. Soon, Mo Shuyun's car passed by and he gave He Lufeng the finger. He Lufeng was speechless. Idiot. A second later, Lin Yan's car stopped and rolled down the window. She glanced at He Lufeng in disappointment. You can't even outrun him? End of this chapter. Chapter 832. Sister, listen to me. It's not what you think. He's shameless. He Lufeng wanted to cry, but no tears came out. However, Lin Yan didn't seem to listen to He Lufeng's explanation. She rolled up the window and disappeared in an instant. She hadn't misjudged He Lufeng. He was the most useless person. Mo Shuyun furrowed his brows as he looked at his boss's racing car. Why was he driving so unsteadily? Did he even know how to drive? Wasn't he afraid that the wheel would hit the road and overturn his car? Dangerous driving. This was definitely dangerous driving. Mo Shuyun, who was following the man's car, couldn't help but tremble in fear. He was afraid that the man would step on the brakes for no reason. Mo Shuyun stepped on the accelerator and flashed twice. He was really afraid that his boss wouldn't look in the rearview mirror. Mo Shuyun no longer treated the man as a racer. Instead, he treated him as a rookie driver. Racing? Driving a private car on the road would be difficult. Hey, you want to stop my car? Mo Shuyun shook his head and sneered coldly. I asked you to drive this car. How dare you stop a professional racer like me? Dream on. The man seemed to have spotted Mo Shuyun's car in the rearview mirror. He swayed left and right in an attempt to stop Mo Shuyun. However, Mo Shuyun didn't take the man seriously at all. He casually turned the steering wheel and overtook the man's car. "Baby, you're mine now." The corners of Mo Shuyun's mouth curled up. His dream car had come so easily. Huh? Mo Shuyun instinctively glanced at the rearview mirror, and his expression changed. The car that the man was driving was extremely fast, and it directly crashed into him. F***ck. Is this necessary? Mo Shuyun was startled, but he didn't give up like Hilifeng. Instead, he stepped on the accelerator and tried to shake the man off. However, Mo Shuyun realized that he had been a little too naive. Don't tell me he has two engines in his car. The corners of Hilifeng's mouth twitched. The man's car was too terrifying. If he pushed harder, it would be able to fly like a plane. The most important thing was that the track was basically a straight line. There was no skill to speak of. It was a competition of whose car's performance was better. Men didn't need to do anything. They could just step on the accelerator to win. About 10 seconds later, the man's car was only about a meter away from Mo Shuyun. The two cars could collide at any time. You're cheating. Mo Shuyun gritted his teeth and ran out of the track. In terms of speed, his racing car could not compare to the man's racing car. In addition, the track was a straight line. If this continued, the car behind him would crash into his car within 2 seconds. That man was probably a lunatic. Was this a race? He was risking his life on the racetrack. If this kind of person was a racer, he would definitely be banned forever. Swoosh. As soon as they left the track, Lin Yan's car flashed past them. Lin Yan glanced at Mo Shuyun, who was cursing and swearing by the side of the road. Mo Shuyun lost? Lin Yan frowned. What was going on? Lin Yan knew that man's racing skills better than anyone else. It was one thing for him to beat Hilifeng. After all, Hilifeng was a bomb on the track. He was terrible and unstable. However, Mo Shuyun was a professional racer who had a certain reputation in the racing industry. How could he lose to that man? Chapter 833. Soon, Lin Yan stopped thinking about anything else. She didn't care if they won or lost, as long as she won. She had to admit that the man's racing skills were incredible. If he hadn't swayed left and right, Lin Yan might not have been able to overtake him. How could Mo Shuyun and Hilifeng lose? Lin Yan couldn't figure it out. Lin Yan overtook the man's car without hesitation. Before long, Lin Yan realized that the man's old habit was acting up again. He crashed into her car. Realization dawned on Lin Yan. No wonder Mo Shuyun had driven his car off the track. If he hadn't driven his car off the track, she would have been killed by him. He's going all out, Lin Yan grinned as she studied the rearview mirror. Although it was a straight line, the track was wide enough. Every time the man was about to hit Lin Yan would swerve to avoid him easily. F***ck. How could she do that? Hilifeng, who was standing outside the track, watched Lin Yan's performance in astonishment. She had dared to swerve at such a high speed. The most amazing thing was that Lin Yan's car was stable. There was no sign of it flipping over. Mo Shuyun was in disbelief. What was going on? 15 seconds later, Lin Yan's car reached the finish line. Bang! Lin Yan had just reached the finish line when the man's car crashed into a trash can, sending it flying dozens of meters away. Lin Yan's heart skipped a beat. How could he be on the track? Initially, Lin Yan had thought that this was the man's strategy. Every time someone overtook him, he would crash into them and force them to leave the track. Alas, Lin Yan realized that she had been wrong. That man didn't have any strategy. He was just too lousy. He couldn't control the car's performance and speed. Lin Yan ran out of the car and hid far away. She was really afraid that the man would lose control of his car and kill her. A few seconds later, the man finally stepped on the brakes. The car skidded and spun a few times on the track before coming to a stop. Is he doing acrobatics? Mo Shuyun rushed forward. Boss, are you all right? Lin Yan hurried forward and knocked on the window with a frown. The man opened the car door and stared at her expressionlessly. Consider yourself lucky. Lin Yan was speechless. It was already like this, and he was still bragging. He almost lost his life. If it wasn't for my shoelace accidentally getting tangled on the accelerator. The man said coldly. Mo Shuyun and Xiaofan looked at each other in dismay. It was wrapped around the accelerator? Was this how they lost? I lost to shoelaces. Xiaofan was dumbfounded. Mo Shuyun's expression didn't look too good either. Did that mean that he had also lost to shoelaces? She had originally thought that the man was the oil bucket type who had a fiery temper on the track and would explode at the slightest provocation. He would crash into anyone who overtook him. In the end, his shoelaces were wrapped around the accelerator. This was a huge stain on Mo Shuyun's career. He had never thought that he had overestimated this man. If he had known this would happen, he would have had many ways to deal with it. As long as the man didn't insist on hitting him, he would definitely win. Boss, are you all right? Lin Yan glanced at the expressionless man. It's fine, the man said. Chapter 834. Lin Yan was speechless. It was good that he was fine. Boss, you're too good. Mo Shuyun rolled his eyes. Look, you made a huge mistake. Your shoelace was wrapped around the accelerator, but you still managed to beat me and Xiaofan easily. Boss, you're really good at racing. The man's expression softened when he heard Mo Shuyun. He couldn't help but steal a few glances at Mo Shuyun. Lin Yan glared at Mo Shuyun. How could this bootlicker steal her lines? She was the one who had thought of it first. She had been about to say it, but Mo Shuyun had beaten her to it. How could this man be so shameless? Boss, you're really good. I used all my strength to barely beat you. I didn't expect you to accidentally wrap your shoelace around the accelerator. Otherwise, I wouldn't have won. Lin Yan gave the man a thumbs up. Let's do it again, the man said gently. Mo Shuyun, Lin Yan, and everyone else's expressions changed drastically. No, no, no. There's no need for that. Big brother, don't be rash. You've won us over. Lin Yan and Mo Shuyun yelled at the same time. Racing with this man wasn't a competition. It was a gamble. Who would dare to race with a man who could wrap his shoelace around the accelerator? They had no feud with each other, so why would they want to perish together? Boss, there's really no need for that. We've seen your ability. Lin Yan grinned at him. The man fell silent for some time before he nodded. Lin Yan heaved a sigh of relief when the man agreed. Lin Yan wasn't afraid that the man would kill her on the track, as he didn't have the ability to do so. She was afraid that the man would kill himself. Where else could she find such a good boss? Boss, look, this car. Lin Yan glanced at the car beside her. It's yours, the man said softly. Mo Shuyun replied, I hate it. Xiaofan replied, I'm furious. Again? The man turned to look at the two of them. Xiaofan was speechless. Mo Shuyun, boss, they wouldn't be able to beat you even if they tried 100 times. They aren't on the same level. The difference is too great. They aren't qualified to compete with you on the track. Lin Yan grinned. The man seemed to enjoy Lin Yan's words. His tone and expression softened. Lin Yen frowned at the two of them. Come with me. Don't disturb boss. He is very busy. Yes. Oh. The two of them said weakly. It didn't feel good to miss the dream car. Lin Yen and the rest of them chose an office and spent the entire morning setting up a few computers and office supplies. It looked pretty good. In her office, Lin Yen was about to talk to Qi Xiaoyuan about the paperwork when Lifeng barged in frantically. Sister, this is bad. This is bad. Lifeng was flustered. You were bitten by a dog? Lin Yen glanced at Lifeng. No. Someone is here to cause trouble. Lifeng blurted out anxiously. Who are you looking for trouble with? Lin Yen was confused. They are looking for you. Lifeng replied. Huh? Lin Yen was startled. Looking for trouble with her? They said that they were from a guild and that they were looking for someone called Lin Yen. I saw that they were aggressive, so I ran away. Lifeng explained. Chapter 835. The Hunters Guild? Lin Yen frowned. Yeah, that's right. The Hunters Guild is a bunch of lunatics. Lifeng nodded. Lin Yen was surprised. The Hunters Guild was so powerful. How had they known that she was here? How many of them are there? Lin Yen frowned. I didn't count carefully, but I think there are more than 20 of them. They are all tall and strong. Replied Lifeng. How many of us are there? Asked Lin Yen. Lifeng glanced at Lin Yen before he glanced at Mo Shuyun, who was sleeping soundly on the couch. After some thought, he said, 3. 3 of us. Lin Yen nodded and said solemnly, then why aren't you calling the police? Lifeng was speechless. Lifeng whipped out his phone when a dozen people rushed in. Who is Lin Yen? One of the young men asked coldly. Lin Yen scanned her surroundings. Who is Lin Yen? Lifeng shook his head. I don't know. Lifeng's gaze landed on Mo Shuyun. He is Lin Yen. The man was puzzled. Isn't Lin Yen a girl? Lifeng nodded repeatedly. Yeah, she just changed. Lin Yen was speechless. The man glanced at Lifeng. Are you kidding me? Big brother, I'm telling the truth. If I lie to you, I will crawl on the ground like a maggot. Lifeng blurted out anxiously. Although Lifeng didn't know who Lin Yen had offended, they didn't look like good people. It would be terrible if they took her away. Who is she? The man glanced at Lin Yen, who was standing behind Lifeng. Oh, she's the boss here. Lifeng explained. Isn't she Lin Yen? The man frowned. No, she's the boss here. We don't know Lin Yen at all. Did you find the wrong person? Lifeng quipped. Ha! The man took out a photo and threw it at Lifeng's face. Look. Don't they look alike? Lifeng picked up the photo and studied it carefully. Then, he told Lin Yen solemnly, Sister, your long-lost sister has finally been found. Lin Yen was speechless. What a fool. Miss Lin, why don't you come with us? What do you think? The man grinned at Lin Yen. Lin Yen sneered coldly. Do you know who my boss is? How dare you threaten me? That's right. Do you know who our boss is? Lifeng's body trembled as she shouted coldly. Oh, who is your boss? I'd like to meet him. The leader of the group smiled. Sister, who is our boss? Lifeng whispered to Lin Yen. Lin Yen glanced at Lifeng. She was deliberately trying to scare them. This group of people from the Hunters Guild was completely different from the previous ones. Their auras were extremely strong, and Xiao Chen might not be a match for them. Moreover, the Hunters Guild had underestimated her previously. It was impossible for them to make the same mistake multiple times. "Ah, I know, it's the man from that night, right?" "Fine, call him out," the leader said. Naturally, Lin Yan knew that she was referring to Pei Yucheng. However, Pei Yucheng wasn't by his side. "I'll change my shoes. Let's continue." Suddenly, a man in sportswear pushed the door open. "Are you busy?" The man glanced at Lin Yan and the members of the Hunters Guild. "Boss, no." He Lifeng hurriedly shot the man a look. "You're their boss?" The leader stared at the man in sportswear and sneered coldly. "It's the last 2 days of the month begging for some monthly tickets." End of the chapter. Chapter 836. He Lifeng glanced at the man and couldn't help but feel guilty. This boss didn't look like he could fight as well. Besides, a rich man like him could do business, but he shouldn't fight. Moreover, he was such a big boss. He couldn't possibly fight with others for the sake of his employees. The man's eyes trailed to the leader of the Hunters Guild as he replied coldly, "I'm her boss." Hearing this, the leader nodded and sneered, "All right, since that's the case, you can come with us." Before the man could speak, He Lifeng suddenly stood up and berated him. "Where are we going?" "Little brother, this has nothing to do with you." The leader glanced at He Lifeng. He Lifeng sneered coldly. "What a joke. Do you know what you're doing? You're gathering a crowd to fight and provoke trouble. I even suspect that you're planning to kidnap her. I'm a lawyer. Let me tell you, if you don't leave now, you'll be in big trouble." "Oh?" The leader couldn't help but chuckle. "I'd like to see what kind of trouble we'll be in." He Lifeng was speechless. He had wanted to scare them, but who would have known that they were outlaws? "All right, you forced me to do this. Don't blame me for not reminding you. You can't leave even if you want to." He Lifeng sneered coldly and turned to the man. "Boss, call the security guards to teach these ignorant fellows a lesson." "No," the man replied expressionlessly. He Lifeng was taken aback by the man's words. What had the boss just said? No security guards. Such a big boss was doing such a big business in such a huge building, yet there wasn't even a security guard? "Why do you need security guards?" "The boss can handle 100 of them," replied Lin Yan. He Lifeng instinctively turned to Lin Yan. Wasn't she bragging a little too much? He might have believed that the boss could handle 2 or 3 of them, but he could handle 100 of them. Was he Popeye? Had he grown up eating spinach? Or was he Superman? Of course, He Lifeng wouldn't say it aloud. He Lifeng glanced at the members of the Hunters Guild and said, "I'm afraid to tell you the truth. Our boss is a ruthless man. He's known for killing tens of thousands of people on the track. If you don't leave now, he might go crazy and kill all of you. I won't be able to stop him then." "You're really interesting." The leader glanced at He Lifeng with a faint smile. However, the members of the Hunters Guild didn't seem interested in He Lifeng. Instead, they turned to look at the man. The leader sneered, "Boss, do you want to take her with us, or do you want us to do it?" About a quarter of an hour later, He Lifeng stared at the burly man who was wailing on the ground. Then, he glanced at the calm man and froze. His sister really wasn't bragging. Was this boss performing magic? He easily beat up more than a dozen strong men with extraordinary skills and knocked them to the ground. "Do you still want me to go back with you?" The man glanced at the leader of the Hunters Guild. A misunderstanding. It's all a misunderstanding." The leader of the Hunters Guild gritted his teeth and shook his head. We found the wrong person. Didn't you say that she isn't Lin Yan?" "Yes, we found the wrong person. We are looking for Lin Yan, not her." Chapter 837. Lin Yen leaped forward and grinned. It's not a misunderstanding. You didn't find the wrong person. I'm Lin Yen. One of the hunters shook his head hurriedly. No, no, no. You're not. Lin Yen frowned. Who said I'm not? I am. Yes, she is. I can testify. He Lufeng chimed in. She is my employee. Go back and tell the higher-ups that they can look for me next time, the man said. May I ask who you are? The man replied expressionlessly, my surname is Xiao. Xiao. As soon as the man finished speaking, the leader's expression immediately changed. Which Xiao? Xiao of the Lantern Festival, He Lufeng replied instinctively. Shut up. Lin Yen glared at He Lufeng. Why was he everywhere? There are clouds beyond the ninth heaven, the man said softly. Ninth layer of heaven? A look of terror appeared in the leader's eyes. There were clouds beyond the ninth heaven. There were clouds beyond the ninth heaven. Do you need me to help you out? The man asked. Let's go. Let's go. The leader of the group scrambled and ran out. After they left, Lin Yen stared at the man in astonishment. Who exactly was this man? The people from the Hunters Guild were scared out of their wits when they heard his surname. Xiao, was there anything special about this surname? Boss, you're too awesome. What do you think of me? I feel like I'm a rare martial arts genius. Boss, do you need a disciple? He Lufeng gazed at the man excitedly. I don't. The man glanced at He Lufeng and turned to leave. When he reached the door, he said, don't provoke them. Lin Yen was speechless. Who was the one provoking whom? At the Hunters Guild branch, in the hall, a huge macaw landed on the handsome man's left shoulder. Return the money. Return the money. Scumbag. 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 Return the money. Not long after, a few middle-aged men walked in. See by, a middle-aged man glanced at the unusually handsome man. Why? You can't even finish the task that I asked you to find? See by sneered. No, it's a little tricky. The people we sent out before came back and said that ninth heaven is with her. One of the middle-aged men frowned. Oh, there are clouds beyond the 9 heavens. 9 heavens beyond the 9 heavens? The corners of Si-Bai's mouth curled up slightly. Heh, it's getting more and more interesting. That woman is indeed not simple. Even the 9th heaven has appeared. Si-Bai, you should know that we're just a branch. It's not realistic for us to deal with the 9th heaven. Besides, isn't it just a woman? There are all kinds of women in this world. Why do you have to snatch a woman from the 9th heaven, then the 9th heaven? Before the middle-aged man could finish speaking, Si-Bai had a smile on his face as he looked at the middle-aged man with his crescent moon-like eyes. Being sized up like this, the middle-aged man did not dare to say anything else. Their Hunters Guild branch was located in the capital city. All these years, they had maintained the order of the evolved beings in the capital city. It had always been very peaceful, but who would have thought that so many great gods would appear because of a woman? It was Si-Bai, and now it was the Pei family. Even the 9th heaven had appeared. What was he trying to do? Was he trying to pierce through the sky? Chapter 839. Ahem. I'm hungry. I'm going to find something to eat. Mo Shuyun coughed to hide his awkwardness and swaggered out of the office. Xiaofan, I'm going out. Lin Yen stood up. Sister, where are you going? Asked He Lufeng hastily. I'm going to look for a friend and ask him about the team, explained Lin Yen. Oh, okay. Go ahead. Be careful, sister. He Lifeng nodded. Okay. If anyone comes looking for trouble, look for Boss Xiao, Lin Yan told He Lifeng. Sister, it was fortunate that Boss was here just now. If he hadn't come, I would have been able to deal with them all by myself. He Lifeng sneered coldly. Lin Yan glanced at He Lifeng and left the office without a second glance. In the car, Lin Yan called Qi Xiaoyuan and arranged a meeting place. Qi Xiaoyuan worked at the racing guild, so Lin Yan had something to ask him. However, halfway through the car, Lin Yan felt a little confused. When she regained consciousness, she realized that she had driven to the suburbs. Huh? Lin Yan rubbed her temples and opened the door. Why did I drive here? Lin Yan was puzzled. Ha ha ha. That's weird, right? Just as Lin Yan was puzzled, two old men appeared in front of her. The two old men looked very similar. They looked like twins, who were slovenly and unkempt. Who are you? Lin Yan frowned, feeling that there was something strange about them. Ha ha ha. We're brothers. I'm Zhang San, said one of the old men. My name is Li Si, replied the other. Lin Yan was speechless. Brothers? Your surname is Li, and his is Zhang? Lin Yan asked instinctively. I'll take my father's surname. I'll take my mother's surname. Lin Yan glanced at them. Which mental hospital had they escaped from? Do you know why you drove here? Zhang San glanced at Lin Yan. Tell me, replied Lin Yan. Let me put it this way. I used my thoughts to control your behavior. Zhang San looked proud. Evolved being? Lin Yan furrowed her eyebrows. Natural evolver. Zhang San said. An evolver born with honor. Li Si added. They're from the Hunters Guild. Lin Yan could guess who they were. Not bad. Good eyesight. Hee, little girl, you're just a lowly post-celestial evolver. It's already a great honor for me, Zhang San, to come and find you. Can't you King leave me out? Did you come alone, Zhang San? Am I, Li Si, a decoration? Li Si looked at Zhang San with dissatisfaction. Hearing this, Zhang San glanced at Li Si. I didn't beg you to come, but you insisted on coming. Besides, I'm stronger than you, so why should I introduce you? Ha ha. You're stronger than me. Young lady, who do you think is stronger? Li Si asked Lin Yan. Lin Yan was speechless. Did these two evolved humans overexerting themselves during their evolution and spoiling their brains from evolution? Senior, I think you're stronger. Lin Yan grinned at Li Si. Ha ha. Look. Look. The eyes of the masses are sharp. Zhang San, how are you stronger than me? I should be the elder brother. You're the younger brother. Li Si sneered coldly. Sorry for the long wait. I'll update 4 chapters first. I'm continuing to write. There's more to come. It's the last day of the month. I'm begging for monthly tickets. Chapter 840. Lin Yan had no choice but to be serious. These two old men were completely different from the one sent by the Hunters Guild. Natural evolved beings had the ability to control other people's actions. Fortunately, there seemed to be something wrong with their brains. Perhaps she could think of a way to escape. What kind of ability is controlling other people's actions? Despicable, shameless, and despicable. Li Si looked disdainful. Zhang San, how dare you disrespect your brother? I want you to kneel down and apologize to me. Zhang San bellowed. Before Li Si could speak, Zhang San suddenly frowned. Wait, I think something's wrong. This young lady seems to be sowing discord. Li Si was startled. Now that you mention it, it does seem so. You. Zhang San flew into a rage. However, Lin Yan was nowhere to be seen. Lin Yan had already sneaked away while the two of them were arguing. She hadn't even driven. Now, Lin Yan realized that evolved beings weren't necessarily smart. Although their brains had evolved, their intelligence hadn't. The two of them were obvious examples. Female thief, where are you running to? Suddenly, Zhang San and Li Si caught up with Lin Yan's car. Lin Yan was speechless. Was there no end to this? Li Si got out of the car and slapped Lin Yan. Before the palm arrived, the wind from the palm arrived first. The huge force made Lin Yan's heart tremble. She couldn't take this palm at all. At that moment, Lin Yan finally realized the huge difference between her and these two evolved beings. It could be described as a chasm. If they fought to the death, she would definitely be the one to die. How dare you? Just as Li Si was about to hit Lin Yan, a cold shout was heard. Li Si stopped what he was doing and looked around subconsciously. A few seconds later, a young man carrying a woman's bag walked over expressionlessly. Xiaofan? The corners of Lin Yan's mouth twitched as she looked at Hilifeng. Why had he run over? He was even carrying the bag that she had left in the office. The Hunters Guild is really audacious. Hilifeng glanced at Zhang San and Li Si calmly. My words have fallen on deaf ears. Who are you? Zhang San placed his hands on his waist and glared at Hilifeng arrogantly. Ha! The corners of Hilifeng's mouth curled up as a cold glint flashed across his eyes. There are clouds beyond the 9 heavens. There are clouds beyond the 9 heavens? Li Si's face was full of confusion. There are many clouds within the clouds to make it rain? Shut your dog mouth. Zhang San glared at Li Si before turning to Hilifeng again. He frowned deeply. There are clouds beyond the 9th heaven. Beyond the 9th heaven. The 9th heaven? Your surname is Xiao? Hilifeng sneered coldly. Zhang San became even more cautious. May I ask which of the 3 heavenly fairies you are? Hilifeng was speechless. Hilifeng was dumbfounded. What 9 heavens? What 3 heavens? How would he know? He had chased after Lin Yan because she had left in a hurry without her bag. However, he had realized that Lin Yan was behaving strangely when she drove. She wouldn't even answer his calls. He had been worried and had ended up encountering this situation. What Hunters Guild? What evolved beings? He didn't understand a single word. Seeing that his sister was in danger, he could only pretend to be the boss and take a gamble. Which of the 3 heavenly fairies are you? Chapter 841. Although Hilifeng's expression didn't change, he was panicking deep down. Which sky? What did that mean? 3 Xiao? Eating lantern dumplings? Eating supper? Was it similar to the 3 Xiao? That didn't seem to be the case. It wasn't as though he was making up a sentence. Hilifeng and Lin Yan were panicking as well. Why had this brat come and join in the fun? She couldn't protect herself against these 2 lunatics, so she couldn't protect him. Lin Yan would rather be in danger than see anything happen to Hilifeng. Sir? Zhang San frowned when he saw Hilifeng's silence. His expression darkened. Eat lantern dumplings during the Lantern Festival. Hilifeng bellowed coldly. Great, 3 Xiao. Lin Yan was completely dumbfounded when she heard Hilifeng. Even Zhang San had a baffled look on his face. Eat lantern dumplings during the Lantern Festival? What did he mean? No. Isn't that right? Hilifeng broke out in a cold sweat. He knew that something was wrong. How could he have guessed correctly? However, he could only make a wild guess. Which one of the three Xiao are you? Zhang Sen felt that something was amiss, and his tone turned cold. 3 Xiao. I'm free and unfettered. He Lifeng, who was flustered, started to ramble. Before he could finish, Zhang San's expression changed as he sized He Lifeng up in surprise. So it's second master. My apologies. This time, we didn't understand the situation clearly. Please forgive us, second master. We'll scram now. After Zhang San finished speaking, he pulled Li Si who was beside him and left. Zhang San, why are you running? After a while, Li Si asked in confusion. Fool. Idiot. Stupid pig. Zhang San glared at Li Si. He's the second master of the ninth heaven, Xiao Yao. Didn't you hear him? I'm Xiao Yao. Huh? Xiao Yao? Li Si's eyes were filled with shock. He Lifeng stood rooted to the ground as his eyes darted around. Sister, have they left? Yes. Lin Yen nodded. Sister, hurry, help me up. I can't take it anymore. I'm scared to death. He Lifeng sat on the ground, his body shaking non-stop. Lin Yen stepped forward and helped him up. Who asked you to come? What if something happened? He Lifeng passed his bag to Lin Yen. Something has happened. Something huge has happened. You're my sister, so I have to help. Lin Yen was speechless. Sigh. Sister, how did you provoke those people? Who are they? Are they superhumans? Oh my God, they can control other people's actions. Is that for real? And what does the Hunters Guild do? Do they hunt? He Lifeng had too many questions. Lin Yen didn't know how to explain this to He Lifeng. Oh my God, I was scared to death just now. Our boss's surname is too useful. Also, what did they call me just now, second master? Did I say anything? I can eat Yuan Shao during the Lantern Festival. I'm free and unfettered. He Lifeng frowned. Before Lin Yen could respond, He Lifeng hurriedly said, yes, yes, yes. Let's go. We can't stay here for long. If they return, we'll be in big trouble. He Lifeng seemed to have been frightened out of his wits. His face was pale, and he was extremely cautious. It was already late when she sent He Lifeng home. After calling Qi Shaoyuan to explain the situation, the two of them could only meet again to discuss the details. Chapter 842. Cloud Manor, Pei Nanxiu, Pei Yutang, Qin Huan, Xing Chen, and Ling Yu stood helplessly in the living room. Pei Nanxiu pinched his forehead. Sorry, I couldn't persuade him. Big Brother was discharged early in the morning, so I could only invite Professor Tan here just in case. Pei Yutang scratched his head in frustration. Your body is already in such a state. If you don't rest, you will die young. Pei Yutang seemed to realize that his words were inauspicious, so he hurriedly muttered, a child's words carry no harm. A child's words carry no harm. For the first time, Pei Yutang felt a little guilty. Second brother, am I being a little selfish? If I could help Big Brother, he wouldn't have to work so hard. Qin Huan raised an eyebrow. Third young master, please don't think that way. Not getting involved in the company's affairs is already the greatest help you can give brother you. Pei Yutang felt as though his intelligence had been insulted. F***ck. Qin Huan, what do you mean? Tell me clearly. Pei Nanxiu shook his head helplessly. Alright, stop arguing. Let's think of a way to persuade Big Brother. Although I can help Big Brother with some miscellaneous matters, Big Brother is the only one who can handle the core matters. No one can replace him. Pei Nanxiu sighed softly and added, JM Corporation might look like it's on fire, but it's actually a turbulent undercurrent. Once something happens to Big Brother, the entire group and family will be shaken. Moreover, there are many people outside who hope that the foundation of this stabilizing force will be shaken. Pei Yutong muttered under his breath, even though that's true, how can my body take it if I continue to overexert myself? Ling Yu, who had been silent all this while, interjected, why don't you ask Sister Yen to persuade him? I think Brother Yu will listen to her. Xing Chen said, second young master has already looked for Miss Lin. Miss Lin has also tried to persuade him, but it was useless, Qin Huan shrugged nonchalantly. Although Brother Yu will definitely listen to Sister Yen, he is so intelligent that he managed to coax Sister Yen with just a few words. I can't persuade her. Pei Yutong glanced at Qin Huan meaningfully. This has nothing to do with intelligence, right? It's mainly about looks. Think about it. Who can resist my big brother's honey trap? Besides, Sister Yen has always been timid in front of Big Brother. Qin Huan and the others could not refute that. Ling Yu also had a headache, then what should we do? But he couldn't just do nothing. Professor Tan had said that Brother Yu's physical condition had stabilized and he hadn't broken through the critical point for a long time. But I've lost control too many times before, and I've used up too much of my energy. My body might not be able to take it at any time, and I need to rest. Qin Huan glanced at Pei Yutong. There's no other way. We can only let Miss Lin try to persuade him. Third young master, give her another call. Pei Yutong looked bitter. Sister-in-law has been very busy lately. I can't guarantee that I can get her to help. Pei Yutong made a call after he spoke. Hello, third young master. What's up? Lin Yan's voice came through the phone. Pei Yutong hurriedly replied, nothing. I just wanted to snitch on you. Lin Yan asked, snitch? Pei Yutong replied, Big Brother's checkup results aren't optimistic. He's exhausted, and the doctor wants him to stay in the hospital to recuperate. However, he didn't listen to the doctor and ran out of the hospital early in the morning. None of us dared to persuade him. Big sister-in-law, can you help persuade him? End of chapter. Chapter 843. Lin Yan, who was puzzled, asked, overworked my body. How is that possible? I've been following Mr. Pei's instructions while I've been staying there. I've been keeping an eye on your brother's daily life. Although he is occasionally busy and works late, he sleeps and eats on time most of the time. I know that he has been undergoing a checkup recently, so I asked him about it last night. Your brother told me that everything is fine and he seems to be in good spirits. The corners of Pei Yutong's mouth twitched. Daddy, you have to be more careful. Besides, given Big Brother's intelligence, it would be easy for him to lie to you. What do you mean by everything is fine? His body is full of problems. Second brother and I were chatted with Professor Tan for more than 3 hours this morning. He said that his body has reached its limit and that he is merely holding on with his willpower. He could collapse at any moment and his fever has been going on for days. How could that be? Lin Yan frowned when she heard that Pei Yutong didn't seem to be lying. Where is your brother now? Pei Yutong replied, he was just discharged from the hospital. I asked Cheng Mo to send all his work documents and documents home. Lin Yan nodded. Got it. I'll go back and take a look. Pei Yutong heaved a sigh of relief when he heard that. However, he was worried when he recalled how cowardly Lin Yan was. All right then. I hope my brother will listen to you. Half an hour later, Lin Yan rushed over in her old car. Where's Mr. Pei? Lin Yan scanned the living room and saw that Pei Yutong, Pei Nanxiu, and the others were all there. Everyone looked worried. In the corner of the living room, there was a professor in a white coat and his assistant. She had seen Pei Yucheng the last time he had lost control. He should be Pei Yutong's personal doctor. The two of them were looking at a stack of reports with worried expressions on their faces. "In the study," replied Pei Nanxiu. "Is it really that serious?" Lin Yan frowned. Pei Yutong nodded vigorously. "If we could beat him, Professor Tan would have suggested that we kidnap him and take him to the hospital." Lin Yan imagined fighting with Pei Yutong and shuddered uncontrollably. I'll go and take a look." Lin Yan still felt that something was amiss. "Is Professor Tan reliable? I've been observing your brother. He seems to be in a good state of mind." "It doesn't seem like what you said." Pei Yutong was exasperated. "Of course my brother is in a good state of mind when he's in front of you. How can he not be in a good state when he's in a relationship?" Lin Yan was speechless. "How could that be?" Pei Yutong added, "However, this doesn't change the fact that his body is riddled with holes. Before you came, Big Brother lost control too many times. Every time he lost control, his body suffered a great loss. It's not an exaggeration to say that his body is riddled with holes." Pei Nanxiu added, "I hope that Miss Lin can persuade Big Brother to stay in the hospital for a while." Lin Yan scratched her head. "I'll try my best. You know that I might not be able to persuade him. He was the CEO of a multinational corporation and the head of the Pei family. How could she make him listen to her? Besides, given Pei Yucheng's powerful aura, she was afraid of him." Chapter 845. "I'm glad that you're worried about me. However, I'm fine. Haven't you been busy lately? Just focus on your work. I'll call you if I need any help," replied Pei Yucheng. Pei Yucheng was simply too gentle and caring. Lin Yan felt a little grateful for that lecture. What kind of boyfriend had he found for her? He was simply too perfect. Besides, that fellow hadn't appeared in a long time. Hence, she seemed to be the one enjoying this peerless boyfriend most of the time. Lin Yan had already confirmed that Pei Yucheng was fine. Pei Yutong and the others must be making a fuss over nothing. Even Pei Yutong and the others, who were hiding at the door, began to doubt themselves. Big Brother did look fine. Could Dr. Tan have made a mistake in his diagnosis? Xing Chen, who seemed to have guessed what Pei Yutong wanted to say, interrupted him as he unwrapped a lollipop. "Don't doubt Dr. Tan's professionalism. Otherwise, he will pick up a scalpel and fight you." Qin Huan chuckled. "However, you can't blame third young master. Brother Yu is too good at pretending. Back then, he had broken dozens of bones in his body and half of his internal organs were damaged. His life was hanging by a thread, but he was still able to lie in bed and watch the live broadcast. He even made some professional comments. It was as though he was on vacation." In the study, Lin Yan believed that Pei Yucheng was fine after he comforted her. However, for some reason, Lin Yan didn't heave a sigh of relief. Instead, she felt inexplicably uneasy. "Are you really fine? Then I'll leave now." "Go ahead." "Okay." Lin Yan strode to the door of the study. When she was about to reach the door, she instinctively turned around to glance at Pei Yucheng. The man continued to flip through the documents on the table. His expression and state were flawless. Damn it! Why was she still worried? Was she really overthinking? Lin Yan realized miserably that her concern had messed up her thoughts. This unfamiliar feeling inexplicably made her a little flustered. Lin Yan's heart was in turmoil, and she couldn't calm down. When Lin Yan stepped out of the study, she spun around abruptly. She paused for less than 2 seconds before she retraced her steps and headed for the desk. Pei Yucheng glanced at Lin Yan suspiciously. What's wrong? Pei Yucheng wasn't the only one. The few people hiding at the door also turned to look at Lin Yan curiously. Why did he go back? Lin Yan's heart was in a mess, as though a kitten was rolling on the floor. She stared at the man's mesmerizing face as her footsteps quickened. She strode over to Pei Yucheng's desk. Lin Yan's eyes didn't blink as she stared at the man before her. Pei Yucheng said, "Lin." Before Pei Yucheng could finish, Lin Yan slammed her hand against his desk. A second later, she reached out with her other hand and grabbed the back of Pei Yucheng's neck. The man's short hair tickled her palm, making her even more confused. However, Lin Yan didn't stop. Instead, she leaned forward and pressed her forehead against his as he stared at her in shock. Pei Yucheng wasn't the only one who was shocked. Pei Yutong and the others were startled by Lin Yan's sudden action. What was going on? Chapter 846. Lin Yan had just touched Pei Yucheng's forehead when she felt his scalding heat travel from his forehead to her skin. It was so hot. It was so hot that it couldn't be considered a normal human body temperature. Lin Yan's expression changed instantly. All the messy thoughts in her heart seemed to have been cut off by a sharp knife, and all that was left was a mess. Lin Yan immediately extended her hand and placed it on Pei Yucheng's forehead again to confirm it. It was scalding hot. You have a fever. Lin Yan pressed her forehead against Pei Yucheng's. Her heart felt as though it had been set on fire by the man's forehead, and her face was frosty. Pei Yucheng. You have a fever and you're telling me that your fever has subsided? Lin Yan had always been respectful in front of Pei Yucheng. This was the first time she had been so angry at Pei Yucheng. Her attitude had been so harsh. This was also the first time Lin Yan had called Pei Yucheng by his name. Pei Yucheng was stunned by the girl's burning gaze. For the first time in his life, he felt a little guilty. He fell silent and didn't know how to respond. Lin Yan was about to explode with rage. What was wrong with this man? To think that he acted as if nothing had happened, 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 and as if nothing had happened. His fever had subsided? How could it have subsided? He was about to boil. He was so sick, yet he was pretending that nothing was wrong. She had almost been deceived into thinking that he was fine. So Pei Yutong was telling the truth. He had really been seriously ill. A normal person with a fever wouldn't even be able to walk properly, let alone a fever that hadn't subsided for a few days. How could he still sit here and handle such complicated affairs? Fluttering, it's just a fever. Pei Yucheng muttered after some time. Lin Yan was even more furious when she heard him. A fever. Just a fever? Your forehead is so hot that you can cook an egg. Lin Yan reached out and touched Pei Yucheng's forehead, neck, and hand. She said coldly, "My entire body is burning. How could you tell me that you're fine? You must go to the hospital immediately." Pei Yucheng watched as the girl flew into a rage. His eyes were as gentle as water as he gazed at the girl's tiny hand. He slowly tightened his grip and held the girl's fingers gently. Then, he lifted her hand to his lips and kissed it gently. "I'm really fine. Don't worry, okay?" Lin Yan's fingers felt as though they had been scalded, and the warmth spread throughout her entire body. The frost on Lin Yan's face almost melted away. After some time, she snapped back to her senses and gritted her teeth as she glared at the man. "Don't try to seduce me. I won't fall for it. You must go to the hospital today." The man in front of her had crushed a pool of starlight in his eyes, and his voice was low and hoarse. "Are you sure?" Lin Yen tilted her head and caught sight of the man's eyes, which seemed to be able to capture her soul. She took several deep breaths to calm herself down. At the same time, she was even angrier. He still had the energy to seduce her when he was so badly burned. Unfortunately, she really fell for it. Lin Yan's anger was extinguished just like that, leaving behind only a few sparks that danced around. Lin Yan shut her eyes and took a step back. She took a deep breath and said, "It's fine if you don't go to the hospital. You can go to bed and rest now." Drama theater, Lin Yan thought, cut it out. I won't fall for your seduction. Pei Yucheng thought, are you sure? Chapter 847. The five of them watched helplessly as Lin Yan returned and exposed Pei Yucheng. She had even forced him to stop working. Lin Yan grabbed Pei Yucheng's hand and led him to the master bedroom, which she rarely entered. The style of this bedroom was very similar to Pei Yucheng's. It was black, white, and gray, and it was cold and otherworldly. After settling Pei Yucheng down, Lin Yan walked to the bedroom and glanced at Pei Yutong and the others. Where's the doctor? They snapped out of their daze and hurriedly called Professor Tan over. President Pei is willing to treat him? Professor Tan looked surprised, but he was still worried. His old body was rotting, so he didn't dare approach President Pei. Lin Yan's mind was filled with Pei Yucheng's scorching heat. She felt a little impatient as she pinched her temples. Go and take a look. If it doesn't work, I'll use force. Everyone was horrified when they heard her. Pei Yutong looked flustered. What? What do you mean? Lin Yan glanced at him. What else could I mean? At most, we'll fight. She didn't know if it was an illusion, but she realized that her physical abilities seemed to be improving. If she really fought with Pei Yucheng, she would at least be able to exchange a few blows with him. Professor Tan was speechless. Pei Yutong replied, This was the first time Pei Yutong had seen Lin Yan so violent, so he couldn't help but be shocked. The others exchanged looks and fell silent. Go in, Lin Yan said. Professor Tan hesitated, but he instinctively obeyed Lin Yan's order. Professor Tan had just pushed the door open when he met the pair of oppressive eyes on the bed. He instinctively took a step back. Lin Yan poured a glass of warm water and placed it on Pei Yucheng's bed. She then scanned Pei Yucheng's clothes. Although he had taken off his jacket, he was still wearing a formal suit and a tie. He looked very uncomfortable. Doctor, did he take his medicine? Lin Yan asked Professor Tan as she reached for Pei Yucheng's collar and removed his tie. Then, she unbuttoned his white shirt. Pei Yucheng merely raised his eyebrows. He didn't resist at all. When Lin Yan couldn't undo the second button, he even helped her unbutton it. At the same time, the terrifying pressure between the man's brows instantly disappeared without a trace. The way they interacted with each other was as natural as an old married couple. Pei Yutong and the others were speechless when they saw this scene. Qin Huan looked astonished as he whispered into Pei Yutong's ear, Didn't you say that Brother Yu and Miss Lin are like strangers? He even said that Miss Lin was timid in front of Brother Yu. It doesn't seem to be the case at all. Pei Yutong was confused as well. Don't ask me. I'm confused too. Professor Tan keenly sensed that the pressure had disappeared, so he carefully walked to the bed. Professor Tan took Pei Yucheng's temperature and examined him carefully. He looked worried and worried. How is it? Asked Lin Yan. Professor Tan glanced at Pei Yucheng, as though he didn't dare to speak. Lin Yan's face hardened. Why are you looking at him? Tell me the truth. End of this chapter. Chapter 848. Lin Yan glared at Pei Yucheng, who was exerting pressure on Professor Tan. Pei Yucheng coughed softly and glanced at Professor Tan. "Speak." Professor Tan said carefully, "I've told you many times. President Pei's body has been severely damaged. He needs to recuperate slowly. Otherwise, his life could be in danger at any time." Professor Tan paused before he added, "I believe that you can feel it, President Pei. Your internal organs are as fragile as glass, and your immune system is like a thin layer of paper. If you continue to work so hard, you will be wasting your life. When you're at the end of your rope, even the best doctor won't be able to save you." Professor Tan had probably realized that he had someone backing him up, so he started to spill everything he knew. The more Lin Yan listened, the uglier her expression became. In the end, her entire body turned to ice. Everyone in the bedroom fell silent after hearing Professor Tan's words. No one dared to breathe loudly. After some time, Lin Yan said coldly, "The treatment plan." Professor Tan hurriedly took out a document. "Here. Actually, the medicine and treatment can only be used as a support. The most important thing." "The most important thing, what?" Lin Yan urged impatiently. Professor Tan was scrutinizing Pei Yucheng's expression carefully, so Lin Yan didn't dare speak. She reached out to cover Pei Yucheng's eyes and glanced at Professor Tan. "Continue." Pei Yucheng was speechless, Professor Tan was speechless, Pei Yutong and the others were speechless. How could this work? Professor Tan was stunned for a long time before he stammered, "The most important thing is the patient's cooperation. At the very least, from now on, Boss Pei can't do anything that will consume his energy." Lin Yan nodded. "Got it. He will cooperate. Okay. I'll prescribe the medicine for President Pei now." Professor Tan realized that the authority in this family seemed to have changed. Pei Yutong, Qin Huan, and the others sensed this change as well. They instinctively stood there like quails. When Professor Tan finished speaking, Lin Yan finally lowered her hand. Then, she met a pair of eyes that looked as though they were smiling. Lin Yan, who seemed to be immune to his charm, replied coldly, "Did you hear what the doctor said?" Pei Yucheng nodded. "Yes, but there is a very important document. No, the doctor has to approve it." Lin Yan was unmoved. His desk was full of documents. Which one of them was unimportant? As long as this gap was opened, if there was one, there would be another. No matter how important it was it more important than his body? If she could, she wanted to lend her body to him. Of course, this was impossible. In short, she absolutely could not allow him to continue acting so recklessly. Lin Yan hadn't realized it yet, as she had automatically assumed the role of his girlfriend. Pei Yucheng glanced at Professor Tan. This time, Professor Tan wasn't threatened by Pei Yucheng. He straightened his back and said firmly, "President Pei, your body really can't handle such high-intensity work." Professor Tan finally realized that Boss Pei seemed exceptionally docile in front of Miss Lin. End of chapter. Chapter 849. Therefore, after keenly noticing this, Professor Tan, who had someone backing him up, naturally became a lot bolder. Pei Yucheng hadn't expected Lin Yan's attitude to change so drastically. He hadn't expected Professor Tan to defy him either. He couldn't think of a way to deal with this. Pei Yucheng glanced at the girl with a faint smile. "Miss Lin. Do you accept bribes?" The top two buttons of the man's shirt were unbuttoned, revealing his collarbone and chest. His voice was hoarser than usual due to the fever, especially that pair of eyes that shone like stars in the desert. When he looked at her, it was as if there were hooks in his eyes. How dare he try to bribe her? Did he think that she would be so easily bribed? That was impossible. No trick would work. Lin Yan's eyes flickered slightly, but she remained unmoved. I told you that a honey trap won't work on me. Professor Tan's words had completely blown her away. The entire city was in a mess, and all that was left was anger. Pei Yucheng raised an eyebrow as he gently adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses. He picked up his phone and pressed a few buttons. Lin Yan was trying to figure out what he was up to when she heard a melodious notification on her phone. Alipay has arrived. 1 million yuan. Pei Yucheng chuckled softly. What about this? Lin Yan was speechless, Professor Tan was speechless, Pei Yutong, Pei Nanxiu, Qin Huan, Xing Chen, and Ling Yu were speechless. Brother, aren't you being a little too shameless? Lin Yan's back stiffened as she stared at the transfer record on her phone. A crack appeared on her cold face, and her eyes lit up. 1 million yuan. Can I? Pei Yucheng chuckled softly. Lin Yan shut her eyes, almost infuriated. This was too much. If a honey trap didn't work, he would use money to corrupt her. Lin Yan took a few deep breaths to calm herself down. She used all her willpower to resist this inhumane corrosion. She pressed her phone several times and said, "Don't try to get lucky. It's useless. I've already returned you 999,480 yuan. 999,480 yuan. Pei Yucheng was momentarily startled when he heard this number. However, he quickly snapped back to his senses. The corners of his lips curled up into a smile, and his eyes sparkled. Pei Yutong and the others were confused. Pei Yutong scratched his head. What do you mean by returning 999,480 yuan? Is there a processing fee for refunds? Qin Huan asked, does this number have any special meaning? Xing Chen and Ling Yu's faces were also filled with doubt and confusion. To be honest, Lin Yan seemed to have changed into a different person today. The way she spoke and acted surprised them. At this moment, Pei Nanxiu said softly, "Ahem, I think it means that." He returned 999,480 yuan and kept 520 yuan. Pei Yutong, Qin Huan, Xing Chen, Ling Yu, everyone's faces were filled with indescribable expressions as they were stuffed with dog food. Pei Yutong bit his finger and whined. F***ck. Who said that big sister-in-law is a straightforward woman? Big brother's illness seems to have unlocked some strange seal in her. Qin Huan touched his chin. Is it my imagination? Why do I feel like Big Brother is a little henpecked? Xing Chen replied, I don't think it's your imagination. Sister Yen did say that, but do you know which of her words is true and which is false? In short, I absolutely don't believe it. When had Mr. Pei ever treated an actress so well and taken such good care of her? Award-winning actor Pei also has close relatives in the industry. Sister Ling, have you ever seen award-winning actor Pei take special care of anyone? Even Summit Entertainment didn't let him in. Chapter 851. The more Duo analyzed the situation, the more shocked she became. Sister Ling, could Sister Yen really be in a secret relationship with Mr. Pei? Duoduo's voice was loud, perhaps because she was too shocked. Hence, Pei Nanxiu and Lin Yan heard her clearly. Secret relationship? Lin Yan was exasperated as she glared at Duo. How many times do I have to tell you before you stop imagining things? I'm really related to Mr. Pei. We're family. We're family. Okay. Duo pursed her lips. Oh, I believe you. She would be a fool if she believed her. Although Duo said that she believed her, she didn't look convinced at all. Pei Nanxiu chuckled and shook his head. Lin Yan and I are indeed related. Duo and Zhao Hongling were taken aback when they heard Pei Nanxiu's words. Pei Nanxiu glanced at Lin Yan. Miss Lin, I'll make a move first. Lin Yan nodded. All right. Go ahead. Pei Nanxiu had just taken a step when he halted and turned around. Oh yeah, if there's any inconvenience, let me know. I'll help you. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Pei. Lin Yan bowed gratefully. The moment Pei Nanxiu left, Duo rushed over. Sister Yan. Before Duo could respond, Lin Yan interrupted her. Mr. Pei said it himself. Do you believe me now? Duo nodded and replied solemnly, I believe you. I believe you. I believe that love is blind and ignorant. I can't believe that Mr. Pei would be willing to lie for you. Sister Yan, what kind of aphrodisiac did you feed him? Lin Yan was so furious that she almost flipped the car beside her. She inhaled deeply and replied, I didn't feed him any aphrodisiac. She had merely fed his brother a aphrodisiac. Meanwhile, in Zhao Hongling's office, Lin Yan told her the reason for her visit. It's nothing serious. I just wanted to trouble you to postpone my work. I have some personal matters to deal with. Zhao Hongling had never interfered in Lin Yan's private life. However, out of concern, she asked, did you encounter any trouble? Zhao Hongling couldn't be blamed for asking this question. Lin Yan was a workaholic who would never delay her work. A few days ago, she had even urged Zhao Hongling to get more work for her. Lin Yan wouldn't have asked her to postpone her work unless there had been something important or troublesome. Lin Yan coughed softly. No, it's just that my boyfriend has been sick recently. I want to take care of him. Lin Yan hadn't hidden the fact that she had a boyfriend from Zhao Hongling. However, they had just bumped into Pei Nanxiu and Lin Yan. When they found out that Lin Yan was going to take care of her sick boyfriend, they couldn't help but feel a little awkward. Duo blinked. So Mr. Pei is sick. No wonder he has been declining a lot of work recently. His expression was also very bad just now. Lin Yan was speechless. It turned out that this little girl didn't listen to a single word of her explanation. Lin Yan's head throbbed. Mr. Pei isn't the one who's sick, okay? It was his brother. His brother. He had been delaying work to attract her boyfriend. He had been in a bad state to take care of her boyfriend. Duo replied, all right. You don't have to explain. I understand. Lin Yan was speechless. What did she know? Chapter 852. Zhao Hongling was almost certain that Pei Nanxiu was the boyfriend that Lin Yan had mentioned. Based on the timeline, Lin Yan had told Zhao Hongling that she had a boyfriend and that Lin Yan had joined Summit Entertainment at the same time that she had started filming with Pei Nanxiu and signed with Summit Entertainment. Coincidentally, Lin Yan had told her that Pei Nanxiu was sick. Pei Nanxiu had postponed his work and wasn't in good condition. If Lin Yan's boyfriend wasn't Pei Nanxiu, she couldn't think of anyone else. Lin Yan had always been hardworking, so Zhao Hongling wouldn't reject her. She agreed readily. Okay, I'll make the arrangements. Go back and take good care of him. After settling everything, Lin Yan left the office and called Qi Xiaoyuan to ask him out for a meeting. She had to settle the team as soon as possible. At the cafe, Qi Xiaoyuan's eyes lit up when he saw Lin Yan. He stood up hurriedly and waved at her. Goddess, I'm here. I'm here. Lin Yan glanced at Qi Xiaoyuan and asked, is there anyone else in this room? Qi Xiaoyuan was stunned when he heard that. That made sense. He was the only one in the private room. Lin Yan glanced at Qi Xiaoyuan and said, I have something to ask you. Lin Yan wasn't very familiar with the rules of the racing teams in the country, but Qi Xiaoyuan's job was related to it. Boss, ask me anything. I'll tell you everything I know. Qi Xiaoyuan nodded eagerly. Aren't you working for a racing team? Asked Lin Yan. Qi Xiaoyuan grinned. Yeah. How else would I have recognized you? I want to start a racing team. Are there any prerequisites? Lin Yan went straight to the point. You want to start a racing team? Qi Xiaoyuan was startled. He couldn't understand why Lin Yan wanted to start a racing team. Boss, aren't you working for the He family team? Asked Qi Xiaoyuan. Lin Yan had single-handedly turned the He family team into a top-notch team. Why did she have to start a new team all of a sudden? A high-level racing team and a newly established low-level racing team could not be mentioned in the same breath. At the very least, in Qi Xiaoyuan's opinion, she was begging for money instead of wealth. Of course, Qi Xiaoyuan knew that given Lin Yan's capabilities, it wouldn't be difficult for her to turn her team into a top team. However, it would be a waste of time. Most importantly, a team couldn't just have one top racer. If they didn't even have enough members, then there was no point in starting a new team. Besides, based on Qi Xiaoyuan's understanding of Lin Yan, she wouldn't be willing to spend money on a racer. He left, explained Lin Yan. He left? Qi Xiaoyuan stared at Lin Yan. Boss, did you say that he left the He family team? Yes, replied Lin Yan. Qi Xiaoyuan, although he was curious as to why Lin Yan had left the He family's team, he didn't probe further since she had no intention of explaining. Chapter 853. Of course, there was a prerequisite. Lin Yan had to compete in every competition. Otherwise, it would all be for naught. Qi Xiaoyuan informed Lin Yan of the conditions for forming a team. The conditions for forming a team were very stringent. Other than the qualification test, there were many other requirements. What if a band racer wants to form a team? Lin Yan asked Qi Xiaoyuan. Qi Xiaoyuan was startled when he heard Lin Yan. A band racer? Boss, what do you mean? Qi Xiaoyuan frowned slightly. Actually, I've been banned. Lin Yan grinned. Huh? Qi Xiaoyuan was taken aback. Qi Xiaoyuan snapped back to his senses and replied thoughtfully, I don't think any racers have been banned. I was banned overseas, replied Lin Yan. Qi Xiaoyuan was speechless. Qi Xiaoyuan was stunned for a few seconds before he snapped out of the shock of the news that he could not accept. Boss. Are you saying that Yeva disappeared because she was banned from competing? Qi Xiaoyuan asked incredulously. Lin Yan nodded slightly. Yeah. Qi Xiaoyuan asked, Boss, how long has she been banned? Lin Yan replied, forever. Qi Xiaoyuan was speechless. Qi Xiaoyuan had never imagined that his boss would retire from the racing scene. As a die-hard fan of Yeva, he hadn't received any news at all. Besides, Qi Xiaoyuan couldn't understand why Yeva would be banned forever. Although there had been rumors about Yeva being banned, no one had believed them. Yeva's fans had scolded them to the point of questioning their own lives. Qi Xiaoyuan had never imagined that Lin Yan would retire for such a ridiculous reason. No wonder the International Racing Federation hadn't announced it. Once it did, there would be a huge uproar. Boss, if that's the case, it might be difficult. Qi Xiaoyuan studied Lin Yan with a frown. There was no difference between being banned by an international racing federation and being banned by an international racing federation. Every country's racing guilds were united. Being permanently banned by one of the guilds was equivalent to being banned by all racing guilds in the world. Boss, why don't you wait for my news? I will talk to the guild and see if there is any solution. Qi Xiaoyuan pondered for a moment before he spoke. If Lin Yan was banned from racing, she wouldn't be able to compete. Perhaps the management of the He family team had been negligent, as they hadn't strictly checked the driving permits of the old racers. However, if they were a new team, the checks would be much stricter. Even if Lin Yan was banned from racing, it would be a waste. Okay. Lin Yan nodded. After leaving the coffee shop, Qi Xiaoyuan went to the guild. Uncle Li, give me some face. This matter. Qi Xiaoyuan looked at the middle-aged man beside him and said. The person called Uncle Li was a middle-aged man. The man looked at Qi Xiaoyuan and chuckled softly. Xiaoyuan, this isn't a matter of giving them face. There's nothing we can do if they're permanently banned from competing by a foreign guild. You know, racing guilds are one. If we give them a special pass, we'll be breaking the rules. Not to mention creating a racing team, they won't even be able to compete on the track. Chapter 854. Uncle Li, please make an exception. He's a really good friend of mine. Even if you don't want to give me face, you should give my father face, Qi Xiaoyuan said hurriedly. The middle-aged man was silent for a moment before he sighed helplessly. Xiaoyuan, it's not that I don't want to give you or your father face, but that's the rule of the association. Qi Xiaoyuan was speechless. Alright, thank you, Uncle Li. Qi Xiaoyuan could only leave. Wait. The middle-aged man suddenly stopped Qi Xiaoyuan. Qi Xiaoyuan's face lit up. Uncle Li, do you have something to discuss with me? The middle-aged man shook his head. There's nothing to discuss. I just wanted to ask you, what's the name of the racer you mentioned who's banned from competing abroad? I have to register it and forbid this person from competing on the track. Qi Xiaoyuan's mouth twitched. I don't know, he had promised his boss not to reveal her identity. In the president's office. Dad, I'm begging you. Give me face. Qi Xiaoyuan looked at his father with a fawning smile. Give you face? The man frowned. Dad, you're not giving me face. Just treat it as giving yourself face. You're really my good friend. Qi Xiaoyuan said. Impossible, President Qi said expressionlessly. Banned by any racing association in any country, you can't compete on the track, let alone create your own racing team. It's absolutely forbidden. Dad, get out, President Qi said impatiently. Okay. After Qi Xiaoyuan left, the middle-aged man whom Qi Xiaoyuan called Uncle Li walked into the president's office with a smile. President Qi, Xiaoyuan came to me before, the middle-aged man said. He's idle all day. Ignore him, President Qi said. Oh right, how's the new racing team going? President Qi asked. The middle-aged man nodded and said, it's going well. This year's international competition is being held in the Hua Nation. Many of the more capable racers want to join, but, compared to the top foreign racing teams, we're still a distance away. In response, President Qi fell silent. Like WZ, Dark Knight, and Falcon. Those top teams are too strong. It's a pity that we don't have god-level racers like Lang Mang or Butcher. Otherwise, we wouldn't be so passive. The middle-aged man sighed. Unrealistic. President Qi put down the document in his hands and glanced at the middle-aged man. Why don't you say that we don't have a racer like Yeva? The middle-aged man chuckled. President, I don't dare to think about that. I can think about people like Lang Mang and Butcher. As for Yeva, forget about her. It's strange. President Qi fell into deep thought. Yeva is a talented racer. She can even train racers like Lang Mang and Tuesday. Why would she disappear all of a sudden? President Qi was puzzled. The middle-aged man didn't find it strange. Maybe it's because she earned enough money. Also, didn't I hear that she was injured? Maybe that's the reason. But no matter what, it's such a pity. If such a treasure was in China, I wouldn't let her retire even if I had to kneel down and beg her. You kneel? President Qi glanced at the middle-aged man and said, I can kneel too. Chapter 855. At Cloud Manor, Cheng Mo hurried over with a pile of documents in his arms. There was a pile of urgent documents. He had to finish them for Pei Yucheng before tomorrow morning. Otherwise, all the work would be delayed. Right now, many people from his family and company were eyeing President Pei, trying to pull him down from his position. If such a huge mistake were to happen, President Pei would be in trouble. If people found out that President Pei had been delayed because of his serious illness, the consequences would be unimaginable. Cheng Mo stood at the bedroom door, feeling conflicted. Lin Yan had called him earlier to tell him not to disturb President Pei while he was recuperating. He didn't want to disturb President Pei and affect his recovery, but President Pei had instructed him to send the documents to him before 8 p.m. He didn't dare disobey. After hesitating for a while, Cheng Mo could only obey and knock on the bedroom door. Dong dong dong, someone knocked on the door. Pei Yucheng had slept soundly. When he heard the knocking on the door, he felt as though he didn't know what day it was. The bedroom was quiet. Lin Yan had left. Pei Yucheng's eyes darkened, but he quickly regained his composure. Come in. Cheng Mo strode in carefully. President Pei, the documents you wanted are ready. Pei Yucheng felt a little better after his sleep. However, he had been holding on for too long. These few hours of sleep weren't enough. He had woken up too quickly, so his temples and chest were aching. However, the moment Cheng Mo entered the room, Pei Yucheng immediately regained his impeccable posture. There wasn't a trace of discomfort or fatigue on his face. Pei Yucheng put on a shirt and got out of bed. Bring it over. Okay. Cheng Mo hurriedly handed the documents over. However, Cheng Mo had just taken 2 steps when a strong force pressed down on his shoulder. He couldn't move at all. At the same time, a chill went down his neck and into his bones. Assistant Cheng, why are you here? Lin Yan's cold voice rang out. Cheng Mo broke out in a cold sweat. He stood there stiffly, not daring to move an inch. Pei Yucheng, who had just put on his coat, was surprised to see Lin Yan back so early. Then, he quietly removed his coat without batting an eyelid. Lin Yan glanced at him and sauntered over to Cheng Mo. She studied the documents in his arms and asked, Assistant Cheng, what are you holding in your hands? The force on his shoulder felt as if his bones would be crushed if he dared to move even a little. Cheng Mo didn't dare to say anything. He stammered, and nothing. It's just a pile of useless paper. I was just about to throw it away. She didn't expose him. Instead, she walked to the table and picked up an empty cup. That's good. I hope that Assistant Cheng will remember my words. While President Pei is recuperating, no one is allowed to disturb him. Otherwise, I might lose control of my temper. The glass in Lin Yan's hand shattered. Lin Yan crushed it with her bare hands. Cheng Mo, Pei Yucheng was speechless. Cheng Mo coughed and hurriedly said, I remember, Miss Lin. No, madam, don't worry. I will remember. I'm leaving now. I won't disturb President Pei's rest. Chapter 856. Cheng Mo fled as though he was running for his life. Previously, he hadn't dared to disobey President Pei's orders. He had also felt that Lin Yan had a good temper, so he had chosen to submit the documents. However, now, he realized that he had made the wrong decision. Why did he feel that Miss Lin was scarier than President Pei? Besides, President Pei seemed to be afraid of Miss Lin. The moment he saw her, he immediately took off his coat. Cheng Mo, who was acutely aware that something was amiss, hurriedly slipped away. Meanwhile, Pei Yucheng lay back on the bed. He tilted his head and smiled at Lin Yan. "You're back." Lin Yan's mind swayed. This trick again? Lin Yan glanced at Pei Yucheng and snorted coldly. She resisted the smile that could melt even the winter. Lin Yan quietly tidied up the pieces and poured him a glass of water. Finally, she took a bunch of medicine that the professor had instructed him to take on time. "Take your medicine." Pei Yucheng took the glass of water and took his medicine obediently. He didn't mention anything about the documents. Lin Yan stared at Pei Yucheng like an X-ray. She only relaxed after he finished the medicine. Some of them were Chinese medicine practitioners, so they couldn't stand the smell of it, let alone drink it. However, Pei Yucheng ate it without batting an eyelid. He didn't even frown. Lin Yan hated taking medicine the most. She couldn't help feeling upset when she saw Pei Yucheng take so much medicine. "Is it bitter?" Lin Yan's tone softened. Pei Yucheng's eyes seemed a little lonely. "I hope it's bitter." Lin Yan suddenly recalled that Pei Yucheng didn't have a sense of taste. She said guiltily, "Sorry, I almost forgot that you can't taste." Lin Yan consoled him. When she met Pei Yucheng's lonely gaze, she felt as though her heart was being pricked by needles. Her tone softened as she consoled him. "Don't be sad. There are still benefits to this." Pei Yucheng smiled bitterly. When he saw that Lin Yan seemed to have softened, Pei Yucheng said, "Those documents." Lin Yan regained her composure when she heard him. "Don't even think about it." Lin Yan snapped out of her daze and yelled angrily, "You've changed your strategy again. You can't bribe me with money, so you're trying to injure yourself to gain my sympathy." Pei Yucheng looked helpless. He hadn't expected Lin Yan to be so sharp this time. "Actually, it's not as serious as Professor Tan said. I know my own body best." Lin Yan stared at Pei Yucheng without blinking. "Besides, it's just a few documents. It won't take long." Pei Yucheng was still trying to get Lin Yan to agree. Lin Yan remained silent. Pei Yucheng replied, "Just this once, okay? The things that Cheng Mo sent over just now." Before Pei Yucheng could finish his sentence, a shadow blocked the light. Then, a warm kiss landed on his lips. Pei Yucheng's calm eyes cracked like a layer of ice. He had just broken out in a cold sweat, and he felt as though he was standing in a lake under the warm spring sun. After Lin Yan kissed him, she straightened her body and pressed her fingers against the man's lips. She said resolutely, "No." This was the first time Lin Yan had taken the initiative to get close to him. This was completely beyond Pei Yucheng's expectations, and he froze. "You," Lin Yan raised her eyebrows and chuckled softly. "President Pei, you're not the only one who knows how to use a honey trap. This move of mine is called giving someone a taste of their own medicine. I wonder if you'll fall for it, President Pei." Chapter 857. Pei Yucheng fell silent for about 3 seconds. Then, he called Cheng Mo and asked him to postpone all his work until next month. Lin Yan was finally satisfied. "That's good. Go back to sleep. You've only slept for a few hours. It's not enough. Call me if you need anything. I'll be next door." "Okay." Pei Yucheng's eyes trailed after Lin Yan as she left the bedroom. After she returned to her room, Lin Yan took a shower and read the scripts and advertisements that Zhao Hongling had sent her. Then, she logged on to Weibo to interact with her fans. By the time she was done, it was already past 10 p.m. Lin Yan was about to go to bed when she seemed to recall something. She glanced at the room next door and frowned. She had always thought that Pei Yucheng had been taking good care of his body until Pei Yutong had complained about him. Today, she had witnessed how Pei Yucheng had forced himself to stay awake. She had finally realized how good Pei Yucheng was at pretending and coaxing people. If she hadn't used some special methods, she wouldn't have known that his fever had been so severe. How could she have known that he would act as though nothing had happened to him? Hence, she felt that she couldn't be the same as before. She had to watch him closely. Otherwise, all her previous efforts would have been in vain. At this thought, Lin Yan crawled out of bed and went to the bedroom next door. She pushed the door open softly and glanced at Pei Yucheng. Good, he was still sleeping. Lin Yan, who was relieved, surveyed the room and glanced at the couch under the window. Forget it. She would sleep here tonight just in case. That way, she would be able to know in time if anything happened. It would also be convenient for her to take care of him. Lin Yan went back to get a pillow and a blanket and placed them on the couch in Pei Yucheng's bedroom. Then, Lin Yan cautiously walked to Pei Yucheng's bedside and reached out to touch his forehead to check if he had a fever. The tentacles were warm. Fortunately, the fever had subsided. She hoped that it wouldn't come back. Lin Yan was worried about everything. She was worried, sick and exhausted. The man who was sleeping was different from his usual aloof self. His face, which looked harmless and fragile, was mesmerizing. After making sure that Pei Yucheng was fine, Lin Yan heaved a sigh of relief and prepared to sleep on the couch. Just as she was about to stand up, a strong force grabbed her wrist, which was on Pei Yucheng's forehead. Lin Yan was startled when she met a pair of eyes that were unusually bright in the dark. Pei Yucheng stared at the girl before him as his slightly hoarse voice echoed in the dark, enclosed bedroom. Miss Lin. Are you planning to attack me at night? Night attack? How could this be? Lin Yan, who hadn't expected that Pei Yucheng would suddenly wake up, blushed and widened her eyes. How is that possible? You're still sick. Am I such a beast? Ha! The man chuckled softly in the dark. Then, he tightened his grip on Lin Yan's wrist and pressed her against his chest. So, you can wait for me to recover? Lin Yan was speechless. She didn't mean that. Lin Yan listened to the man's heartbeat and scrambled to get up. After she calmed down, she said, I'm just checking to see if you have a fever. What if you work secretly when I'm not around? Of course I have to keep an eye on him. That's why I plan to sleep here tonight. Pei Yucheng was startled. Sleep, here? End of this chapter. Chapter 858. Lin Yan blinked and asked, What's wrong? Pei Yucheng shook his head and replied, Nothing. I just feel a little regretful. Regretful? Regretful about what? Lin Yan was puzzled. Pei Yucheng replied, I regret not telling you earlier that I was sick. Lin Yan's cheeks flushed as she understood what Pei Yucheng was implying. She snorted coldly and said, You finally admit that you hid it from me? Pei Yucheng coughed softly. Sorry. How could Lin Yan be angry when she saw how weak he looked? She reached out to tuck his cup in. Have a good rest. I'll sleep on the couch next to you. If you need anything, you can call me anytime. Pei Yucheng replied, I need it now. Huh? What do you need? Do you need water? Or are you hungry? I'll get you something to eat. Lin Yan asked anxiously. Pei Yucheng asked, can I not sleep on the couch? Lin Yen was speechless. If she didn't sleep on the couch, where would she sleep? Lin Yen understood what Pei Yucheng meant very quickly. Pei Yucheng had always been polite and restrained. He had never crossed the line. This was the first time Pei Yucheng had made such a request. Lin Yen was stunned. Besides, he had made such a request in such a weak state. It was too hard to reject him. Lin Yen snapped back to her senses and said with difficulty, "Ahem. I'm not a good sleeper. I'll disturb you. I was just joking. Miss Lin, you should rest early. Sorry to trouble you today." The man's eyes only dimmed slightly, and the surging emotions in his eyes instantly returned to calmness. His attitude was extremely natural as he spoke, as if it was really just a casual joke just now. Lin Yen frowned when she saw this. After some hesitation, Lin Yen couldn't help but ask, "Pei Yucheng, can I ask you a question?" Pei Yucheng was startled when he heard Lin Yen call him by his name. "Go ahead." Lin Yen replied solemnly, "Why, do I feel that you've always been so cautious around me?" Logically speaking, someone like Pei Yucheng wouldn't need to be cautious around anyone. However, during this period of time, Lin Yen felt that Pei Yucheng was no longer a gentle gentleman. He had become so gentle that he was cautious and cautious. What kind of boyfriend would be so careful with his words when flirting with his girlfriend? Pei Yucheng's eyes flickered as he replied naturally, "Miss Lin, why do you say that?" Lin Yen gazed at his gentle expression and felt a little annoyed. "Even when I'm angry, I can't help but call you by your name. However, Mr. Pei, you've always been so polite to me. You seem to be a little cautious." The man clenched his fists. "You don't like it?" Lin Yen scratched her head. "No. It's not that I like him. I just feel that. I don't know." Lin Yan's mind was a mess, and she didn't know what to say. Pei Yucheng seemed to care a lot about this question. "Then, do you hate it?" Lin Yan realized that this was a very important question to him. She hastily replied, "No, why would I hate you? I didn't expect you to be so approachable and kind to me. How could I hate you?" Chapter 859. Other than the one time when she had wanted to break up with him and he had lost control, Pei Yucheng had never been angry at her. She had always thought that Pei Yucheng was a godly boyfriend. How could she hate him? However, she felt that Pei Yucheng was a little too oppressive. The man unclenched his fists and chuckled softly. "It's good that you don't hate me." Lin Yen didn't probe further when she saw Pei Yucheng's reaction. One of them sat on the bed, while the other sat on the couch. Both of them lay down to sleep. Lin Yen had been busy the entire day, so she fell asleep soon after. Not long after Lin Yen fell asleep, the man opened his eyes slowly and gazed at the girl on the couch. In his mind, he suddenly felt an intense pain. "I hate you, Pei Yucheng. I hate you the most in my life. I'd rather die than be with you. You don't know how to love someone at all. You're a monster, President Pei. Ever since I saw you on TV, I've been infatuated with you. I can't stop thinking about you. Do you know that there are 100 ways to be sweet? Eating candy, eating cake, and missing you 98 times." When the nightmarish voice in his head was replaced by the girl's sweet voice, the pain in Pei Yucheng's head gradually subsided. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead. "I wouldn't want to lose you even if I had to pretend for the rest of my life." The next morning, at JM Corporation, all the senior executives were present. A few major shareholders and elders who rarely came to the company were also present. The conference room was in a mess. "Cheng Mo, your president Pei's personal assistant. Tell me what's going on." "Exactly. It's such an important contract, but he hasn't signed it yet. If he doesn't sign it, all the factories will be suspended for the next 6 months. Do you know how much the company will suffer? The headquarters in Europe have already called to ask about it. Cheng Mo was as anxious as a cat on a hot tin roof. However, he could only maintain his composure. Everyone, please calm down. The deadline hasn't arrived yet? What do you mean it's not here yet? We should have finished the contract a month ago, but it's still at a standstill. Boss Pei said he wanted to reconsider it, so we delayed it for another month. There are only 3 hours left until the time that Boss Pei agreed with us. One of the veterans roared as he slammed the table. The other person seemed to be a little wary of Pei Yucheng and warned, "I'll say this first. I've already reported this matter to the headquarters. If anything happens to us, he won't be able to escape responsibility. Cheng Mo, I think you're just stalling for time. According to the news I received, Boss Pei is already bedridden and unable to handle the company's affairs. Yet, he hid such a huge matter from all of us shareholders. Can you bear the responsibility if anything happens? Cheng Mo, you're overthinking. Boss Pei is fine." Bullshit. Even now, you still dare to not speak the truth. Tell me the truth. Is President Pei seriously ill and unable to get up? If that's the case, we have to plan ahead for the sake of the company's operations. Cheng Mo hadn't revealed any flaws, and these people were afraid of Pei Yucheng. Thus, they didn't dare to act rashly. However, if Pei Yucheng didn't give them an explanation today, they wouldn't be able to keep this matter under wraps. No one knew President Pei's condition better than Cheng Mo. He really couldn't take any more work, but the company couldn't do without him. Cheng Mo was in a dilemma. He was about to split into 2 halves. Chapter 860. At Cloud Manor, when Pei Yucheng opened his eyes again, he realized that his vision wasn't quite right. He didn't seem to be lying on the bed, the morning light was shining through the window. He seemed to be lying on the sofa. Pei Yucheng slowly propped himself up and realized that his vision wasn't right. His body didn't feel right either. Previously, his body had felt as though he was carrying a mountain or a person sailing in the deep sea. His entire body was heavy and exhausted. The last time he had lost control, he had realized that his body was as withered as a tree. Even though he had tried his best to hold on, he hadn't been able to. Thus, he had had no choice but to ask Cheng Mo to postpone a lot of work. However, his body felt unprecedentedly relaxed and his mind was clear. His condition wasn't any worse than when he had been at his peak. Pei Yucheng quickly realized what had happened. He instinctively glanced at the full-length mirror opposite him. Indeed, the person in the mirror wasn't him. It was Lin Yan. Without warning, his consciousness had enveloped Lin Yan's body. Was it because his body was too weak that he couldn't control his consciousness? Pei Yucheng didn't have time to think about it. His phone rang continuously. Pei Yucheng walked to the bed and picked up his phone. He pressed the password to unlock it and read the message. It was from Cheng Mo. The company couldn't seem to suppress it any longer. Today was the deadline he had given them, so the current situation was within his expectations. Those people would definitely take this opportunity to, justifiably, cause trouble. Pei Yucheng used his phone to send Cheng Mo a message. Send all the documents over. A minute later, Cheng Mo replied, President Pei, this isn't a good idea. I think you should think of another way. Madam said that you can't continue working hard. Besides, those old guys must have dug countless traps in those contracts. Given your current physical condition, it's really not suitable for you to do such high-precision work. In short, your health is the most important thing. Cheng Mo rambled on and on. The core meaning was that he had disobeyed the president's orders, so he had to listen to Madam. This was the first time Pei Yucheng had been disobeyed by Cheng Mo. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. In the end, Pei Yucheng took out his phone and called Cheng Mo. Cheng Mo answered quickly. "Hello, President Pei." Pei Yucheng replied, "It's me." Cheng Mo could hear Lin Yan's voice on the other end of the line. Even his voice sounded softer as he replied meekly, "Madam." Pei Yucheng replied, "Okay." Cheng Mo panicked. "Madam, I didn't ask Boss Pei to work. I'm serious. If you don't believe me, look at the message I sent to Boss Pei. I asked him to rest well." "Really?" Pei Yucheng was speechless. Pei Yucheng was speechless when he heard his assistant's panicked tone. "Send all the work that needs to be done in Yucheng in half an hour." Cheng Mo replied without hesitation, "Yes. Yes. I'll bring it over right now." "Madam, please wait a moment." Pei Yucheng was speechless. This time, he agreed readily. What he didn't know was that when he awoke from Lin Yan's body, Lin Yan's consciousness was gradually awakening. Chapter 861. Lin Yan was completely dumbfounded. When she had realized that she had been possessed again, she had panicked. However, this time, after much deliberation, she had tried her best to calm herself down and hide her presence. Fortunately, that fellow hadn't noticed her at all. This time, she wanted to figure out her motive while that fellow was unaware. Then, Lin Yan watched as herself picked up Pei Yucheng's phone and unlocked it. After reading Cheng Mo's message, she pretended to be herself and asked Cheng Mo to send the documents over. What was this person trying to do? Lin Yan continued to read the messages in bewilderment. Pei Yucheng was lying on the bed in the bedroom. Pei Yucheng was still sick and weak. If this fellow really wanted to do anything to Pei Yucheng, it would be too easy. She wouldn't be able to stop her. Lin Yan was scared out of her wits at the thought of this. She had thought that the pervert had given up. Who would have thought that he would be waiting for an opportunity? After Pei Yucheng ended the call with Cheng Mo, he glanced at himself on the bed and didn't pay any more attention to him. A second later, his eyes inadvertently landed on Lin Yan's body. The girl was wearing a nightgown. Although it was a conservative style, a few buttons had come undone due to her restless sleep. Her bra could be vaguely seen. Pei Yucheng averted his eyes almost instantly. Lin Yan was worried about Pei Yucheng's safety, so she hadn't noticed that his gaze had landed on her. She didn't think that it was a big deal that her buttons had come undone. She had always assumed that the pervert was a woman. Pei Yucheng stretched his hand out and carefully buttoned Lin Yan's pajamas. Then, he walked out of the bedroom. This fellow hadn't done anything to Pei Yucheng. What was she trying to do? Lin Yan knew that there was nothing she could do. However, she had to figure out that fellow's motive. Hence, she could only wait and see. Pei Yucheng sat in the yard and basked in the sun for a while. After a while, Cheng Mo arrived with the documents. Cheng Mo said carefully, "Madam, I've brought everything you wanted." Pei Yucheng replied, "Okay, leave it. Wait in the living room." Cheng Mo didn't dare disobey and left obediently. Lin Yan was about to go crazy. F***ck. Cheng Mo, this idiot. Such an important document, how could you be so assured to hand it over to this pervert? That guy had an ulterior motive. Even if Cheng Mo thought this guy was her, he shouldn't be so unwary of her, right? Lin Yan didn't know what to say. She could only wait and see what he wanted to do. The man entered Pei Yucheng's study with a thick pile of documents. In the study, Pei Yucheng's study was even more secretive and important than his bedroom. Lin Yan had purposely concealed herself and Pei Yucheng was focused on his work, so he hadn't realized that she had woken up. After he entered the study, he took out a pen from the second drawer of the desk and started to deal with the work that had piled up for the past month. Because his consciousness was in Lin Yan's body, his mind had regained its clarity. He had dug out all the traps that the old fellows had painstakingly dug. The problematic documents were all marked out with a pen, and the ones that were not problematic were immediately read and signed. In less than 2 hours, Pei Yucheng had finished all the documents. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.